Ulonga tabati yada tó yẹ kó máa da ifá. Inú tó yẹ kó jẹun, lọ́ fi bí pa. Ọba tálá, ọba takuntakun. Ṣàngó, Èṣù, Ògún, Ọya, Ọ̀ṣun. Ìwọ ló ń bọ̀ nílé. Kí ni ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ tán ṣe nílé yìí o? Ó jẹ́ lọ jára rẹ̀.
Alafia, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I am your host, Orisha Bami, and today we have on none other than our distinguished, legendary, iconic community elder, the one, the only Oloye Baba IFA Karade. Alafia, Baba, how you doing? Peace and blessings to you.
Right, Dani, and peace and blessings to you as well, my brother, and to all our illustrious people out there who are, consistently moving with the tribe and moving with the KN, the Karade Nation. And Cabo, welcome people, welcome.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, I appreciate you, Baba. And yeah, man, before we even get jumping into it and get started, I definitely want to do what we always do, which is to show love and appreciation and gratitude to the tribe for holding us down, man. Y'all to turn it up and then turn it out. Well, I'm telling you, and I appreciate it. I'm telling you from like the bottom of my soul, man. It means a lot. It means everything. And today I was just looking back, reflecting on this channel is literally only 8 months old. We launched the very first episode April of 2024. And I watched that video. Matter of fact, I'll share the link, probably reshare it. I'll be working on a recap, for the year. But it's been a hell of a year, man. A really tremendous year in regards to growth, in regards to pulling together to, really create a tribe and an environment that is extremely powerful, extremely positive, extremely supportive, extremely collaborative, extremely unified. Like, it's just so many different attributes and characteristics of this channel that I couldn't give more thanks for. And it's like I was looking over the mission and vision statement for the channel and the brand of African Spirituality Experience, and I never actually shared it, but I will be sharing that in the near future because what I found to be profound and to be extremely humbling is the fact that we literally have, like, in real time created everything that was written in that mission statement, in that vision statement, and it happened organically. It wasn't me even saying anything about it, and the fact that I'm just now remembering it 8 months later as we go into the new year, that says a lot for, I feel like, the way things happen, not only organically, but the divine alignment in which that spirit, the Orisha, the great God of heaven, Olamare, has kind of brought all of us, along the same beaten path. So, before we get started, I really want to just give an extremely deep, heartfelt appreciation and thanks and mudupwe, to everybody who's been a supporter, everybody who's a subscriber, everybody who's joined the private community, everybody who's joined the VIP community, everybody who's waiting for the Institute, everybody who's bought the Ashe merch. There's been people who buying the merch off the website. I appreciate every single one of y'all who has, bought what you bought just to support the brand. And I also, really want to give thanks to all of our elders. Baba, I want to give you the utmost, appreciation and thank you and gratitude and mudupwe, because you have been the anchor, to the ship, man. And it's profound, just to kind of see where we've been guided in regards to the sheer depths. I mean, the sheer, like, endless, boundless treasure of wisdom that we have been blessed with in this channel. I really want to thank you first and foremost for that. And I'm very sure the tribe, agrees with my sentiments in regards to that, because every single one of y'all have come in here and y'all been dropping bombs. I'm talking about knowledge bombs all over the place. And so I give thanks to you. And I give thanks to all of our past guests, every single one of our past guests, the ones who aren't necessarily elders, but them, and I feel like they're elders in wisdom, because if you've been on this platform, then I know you came here to share wisdom. So I appreciate every single one of y'all. So with that, bye-bye. I'm ready to get this thing cracking.
All right, well, let's not forget to give homage to you, as the wisdom that you bring forth and the skill set, combined with the mindset in order to make this possible. It's not a dream, it's a vision, and it's manifested, like we say, we here now. It's not something that we're talking about in the back room. And the progress, as you stated, that we've made over the months and as far as what we're doing right now, and then with other guests who are bringing in views, you know, as they say, hand over fist, you know, and just lending to the exposure and the countless people who are so moved, who may not hit the like button or the subscribe button, and you know, the thousands of people who are honored, you know, by us, who basically hear whispers of us, you know, and tune in and, you know, take notes, and like we were saying, we start hearing echoes of what's discussed on this channel, on other channels, on Facebook. So people are tapping in, you know, even if they're not literally, you know, tuning in to the podcast in real time. The numbers are showing that by the thousands, people are tuning in, and they're learning, you know, they're growing, and the wisdom is not, you know, poured into buckets with holes. You know what I mean? Just just keep pouring everything in, and it just keeps kind of being wasted. You know, people are actually putting their fingers on the pulse and gearing more towards what we're pushing for, and that is application. You know, that is developing skill sets and strategies. That is, you know, going beneath the surface, you know, not just being content at the top of the iceberg, so to speak. But as we know, the majority of the iceberg, you know, is below the surface. It's sometimes relatively unseen. But once you get off the top of it on surface level and start to see the vastness that's beneath, then it's like, okay, we have work to do. We are Onisheshe. You know, we are Ifa Isheshe. So that said, my brother, my Ojise brother, homage to you as well. Ashe.
I say, oh no, I appreciate it, Baba. I really do, man. And yeah, I give all the credit to Spirit. You know, just being blessed to be the vessel, to be the messenger. And shout out to Nkosi, shout out to Queen, shout out to Ifa Segun, shout out to you know, all of our tribe, man. The VIPs, Adana, shout out to all the new tribe members. You know, we really appreciate all y'all, man. So I look forward to a year of 2025. You know, we turning this thing up and making it live, man. We're gonna make it do what it do. So with that, bye-bye. It's been a heck of a week, a lot going on. I don't know how familiar the tribe is with the what's the name of the country? What's the name of the country that just paid off the billions of dollars with debt? Burkina Faso? Is that it? Burkina Faso?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. I've been doing some researching and studying on what they're doing over there, and I definitely had to bring that to the floor tonight. They setting the tone for a lot of what I would call a monumental global shift and the shifting of the guard as we know it, because what they're doing is unbelievable. And it goes back to the episode, family. If y'all watched the episode with Baba Mukasa Dada, he spoke about, in terms of nations, who are our friends and who are not our friends, and who are our allies and who are not our allies. And we're doing a little research over the last few days. I've seen that everything that he said in that interview rang true, because what we're seeing is a true divine alignment for the crumbling and the falling of Babylon, of Sodom and Gomorrah. And what I mean by that is the West. The stronghold that they have had over so many other countries and so many other territories around the globe that they've been raping and pillaging, and they've been destroying and colonizing. All that shit is done. Like, it's a wrap. We're seeing it crumble right before our very eyes, and I'm here for it. I'm hearing the comments like the Farrakhan phase. I'm just cheesing because, as Professor Kaba said the other day, you reap what you sow. And when you're dealing with the laws of Ma'at or Iwapwele or the divine justice systems, you will reap what you sow and you will return back. So we're starting to see that. When you look at the instructions.
Check your sound, brother. Check your sound.
Can you hear me?
Okay, it's better now. Something was going The mic is going out a little bit.
Look, I might be talking. It might be some of them. Them same parasites might not like what's being said. I don't know, but anywho, but yeah, it's a lot going on in a positive light where I see people and nations that are creating equality, that are creating abundance, that are creating a safe haven and a place for their citizens to live, you know, and work together in a unified, equal environment, and it's lovely. I love seeing it, and I'm here for it. So I'll definitely be sharing more about some of these developments that's taking place around the globe. And not to get too far off of Isheshe and Ifa, but with that, Baba, in regards to this year and reflection and looking back, you know, especially as being the author of Elder Reflections. So what would be some of your most significant reflections, you know, just looking back on 2024 and some of the, I would say some of the things that have taken place in regards to the African spirituality experience, as well as the Karade Nation?
Well, I mean, concisely, you know, being here, being here on the podcast, being a part of the growth is it's very important, you know, and you know, and especially, you know, as someone in their 70s, it's like, you know, as I shared today with some people I was having a conversation with, and that is, you know, it's been a period of reinvention of thought, you know, and reinventing self, and that consistent process, you know, one might call a process of spiritual growth, you know, one might call the process of elderhood or eldership. Okay, it's been more this year. It's been more than getting older. You know, it's been a year of purpose, new ventures with the Ashe program, new ventures as far as my writing, you know, and basically stimulated by the business aspect and looking more at the merchant side, and not in any way that one might consider manipulative, but in a way that one might consider building a nation. You know, we can talk about, you know, money in any kind of way, but everywhere we seem to go where nations were built and empires, you know, built, there was an economic factor, you know, be it cowrie shells or coins or dollar bills or francs, or, you know, whatever the name for it. And now people talking about Bitcoin, you know, but whatever the name, you know, the economic circle had to be formed. And again, that doesn't mean it has to be manipulative. That doesn't mean it has to drain the people, you know, and unfairly tax the people, and, you know, all of the horrors that we see and the conceptualizations that we have to kind of, you know, get a firm grip on ourselves when we hear, you know, money factors. Okay. But again, making more certain that exposure to my work, you know, and I say that humbly, you know, is continued into my elder years. You know, I feel blessed exponentially that the handbook is still vibrant, and that was made evident this year. I feel blessed exponentially that Ojise is still making an impact, and you, Baba Orisha Bemi, you know, have repeatedly stated, you know, the impact that it had on you, and you know that's beyond dollars and cents. You know, that's soulful enrichment. You know, that's spiritual height and grounding simultaneously. You know, they are the reflections books. You know, the books that came, you know, as a result of all of this goodness, and you know, not to make the dollar, but to extend while I have years. You know, to do so. You know, to put the value of me in a form and format that will easily last 7 generations. You know, and I said I would be concise, so I'm going to, you know, put it to a closing. That has been, you know, the major kind of, you know, movement within me for this year, being able to look at the Gumroad and see my works. You know, being had a young lady from Texas contact me today, and she said, I mailed your Gumroad information out to all my Nigerian friends here in Texas. And I'm like, wow, you know, that at this age and stage to still kind of roll with that kind of vibrancy is basically the result of what I've experienced here, and the people who have supported, not only, you know, purchasing the book, but giving me the flowers before I'm laid into the ground. So it's been that kind of year, from age 71 to age 72. And again, I give homage and I give thanks. So that's where I am, my brother. That's where I am.
Ashe. No, and rightfully so. You take as long as you want to. You got sometimes you got to pop out and show yourself, you know, and give ourselves some flowers and you know, some support, man. And you know, it's a real thing. I've had that conversation a couple times this week in regards to us, you know, really celebrating ourselves. I feel like we don't do that enough, and it's actually come up in one of my a message that I received from Spirit not too long ago, recently, as a matter of fact. Divination that was performed, and excuse me, one of the things that came up was that for one, I don't give myself enough credit, and for two, I don't take the time to celebrate the things that have been achieved and accomplished because they, you know, they matter, and that's something that, you know, as a man, I have to own that, because I don't. I think because the way I'm wired, I'm so focused on, you know, being results driven or just consistent in regards to, like, you know, the not just the quantity of work or things that are being done, but the quality of it, as well as trying to produce, you know, multiple programs, multiple communities, and multiple ventures simultaneously. It can be taxing, it can be stressing, and it can be overwhelming at times. So it's like, the way that I'm wired, though, it's like it's when one thing is checked off and it's completed, it's on to the next. And so what I got from Spirit is that one of the things I have to do is to kind of take the time to, you know, soak it in, absorb it, and then reflect on it, and then from there, you know, and celebrate it, you know, give myself credit and give myself some appreciation, you know. So that's something that I'm working on doing, you know, going into 2025, and I feel like that's one of the things I'm looking forward to doing with the tribe, with the community, with the journal, you know, with working on that together collectively, you know, as a family, as a tribe, because we all need, you know what I'm saying, support, and we all are trying to grow and expand and to take not just our lives, but maybe our spiritual journeys, or for those who are entrepreneurs, our businesses, for those who are aspiring entrepreneurs, you know, creating the business, or those who, you know, are in a career that they want to develop and advance in the career, you know what I mean? Just elevating and expanding in all aspects and all ways. So for me personally, I look forward to doing this, you know, collectively as a tribe. So for those who can't make the live stream calls, whether it's the community, the private community, or the VIP calls, there's always going to be the recordings that will, you know, be uploaded after the fact. But I'm definitely looking forward to having our first community call this weekend. I'm thinking about doing it tomorrow. If not tomorrow, probably Saturday. But either way, I'll let y'all know, tribe, whichever date that I'll be doing that community call, and I'll send the Zoom link to everybody's inbox and to everybody in the community as well. So we can kind of not only just like tap into the journal, but I'm gonna share like how I've used it and what I'm working on, and then you know, kind of do like a roundtable discussion or a Q&A, you know, with the tribe for those who may need support in some areas. Like some people have reached out on the channel, and for though I can't remember the tribe member's name, but it was a tribe member that reached out about meditation classes or meditation sessions, you know, guided meditation. I'm like, you know what, that's an excellent idea. And that's something that, you know, we can implement into, you know, those calls is working on meditations collectively. And I've actually been a part of, as an attendee of virtual meditation sessions with, shout out to Tony from the Meta Center. We were speaking about Dr. Delbert Blair on the podcast the other day with Professor Kaba, and the Meta Center is still functioning. And Dr. Blair, it reminds me, I think I spoke to you about Dr. Blair, Baba. I was telling you about him and Tony and how I feel like Tony has taken on his legacy and continues to, you know, push it forward. Even though Dr. Blair transitioned, I want to say in 2020 to the realm of the ancestors, his Meta Center is still popping, man. And shout out to Tony, and you know, tip of the hat to him for doing the work, because I went to see them in Chicago, I think last year, for one of the events he had. Phenomenal event. And Dr. Blair's essence and Ashe is still there with him. And, you know, I feel like that's something that we can do, and I've seen it done and been a part of it, because he held the guided meditation, you know, that was virtually, that we do in the Patreon group that's a part of the Meta Center. So that's something that I look forward to doing with the tribe, you know, and sharing, because one thing about energy is it's boundless. You know, there's no such thing as, you know, a cap or some sort of, you know, like level to kind of, you know, put a cap on energy, because it's infinite. So it's like we can all, you know, bring our energies together, even from remote places, from distances away, as long as we're focusing on, you know, channeling the Ashe. And that's something that, like I said, I've been a part of it. I felt it. It resonated with me, and I look forward to doing it, you know, with our tribe. So with that, bye-bye. In regards to what we spoke about, I can't remember which day it was, but it was recently. And we were talking about the, I would say, lack of integrity in the service business. And I believe you and our conversation was primarily about IFA priests or Babalawos or Orisha priests, if I'm not mistaken, about, you know, people coming to you, you know, in reference to feeling like they've been done wrong, or they've been screwed over, or they've been, you know, kind of took advantage of in regards to paying for certain types of services and not receiving them, or not, you know, being whatever the products or services that was supposed to be rendered, not being delivered in the fashion in which the devotee or the client was expecting. And then you and I got into a deep conversation about that. And you know, I took it from not even just spirituality, but hell, just as business as a whole, because I've seen it and dealt with it on all levels, not just, excuse me, in this tradition, but, you know, as an entrepreneur or as a consumer, you know, someone who buys products and services from other people. So what based off of some of the calls that you had to kind of, you know, not really calm people down, but kind of just be that voice of reason for, you know, a few of the experiences you've had recently, what would you say was some of the consistent, I would say, gripes or what's the word I'm looking for? Grievances that you know, had to kind of help members with, or I should say class, or, you know, just students of yours with? And then, you know, what do you see as your personal perspective on how to not be that, and to deliver, you know, the products and services or whatever it is that you're offering to your people, to your customers, your consumer base, with integrity and with, you know, a sense of morality?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very worthwhile issue, you know, to be discussed.
Mm-hmm.
And I can just basically give an overview, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because see, this issue is a timeless one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and as you so wisely stated, it's not relegated to Isheshe.
Mm-hmm.
You can walk into a school, a college, a university. You know, you can walk into a doctor's office. You know, just, you know, reading some files on, you know, doctors who are treating people for cancer, and then find out that the people never really had cancer. Okay. And how the hospitals have been going along with these physicians, and of course milking the insurance company, you know, milking the individual, you know. And what really struck me as a counterweight, so to speak, is what is a counterweight to all of this in respect to the issue. And that is, people trusted these doctors, you know, just like, and since parents trust their, the teachers, you know, with their children, you know, they trust the school, you know, and it's more than an element, well, you know, I'm sending you to school, you know, because you need to get education, or I'm going to the doctors because I need to get healed. It's like there's a trust factor there. You know, I'm going to the pastor because, you know, he's closer to God or she's closer to God, you know, and I trust that. I'm going to the Baba, I'm going to the Iya, I'm going to the Babalao, I'm going to the Iya Nifa, you know. It's not just because they may know things or have power over whatever, you know, but I have an element of trust, you see. And when these grievances are shared with me, and even back in the day, when people did not agree with the way that I was initiating, or the points of views as I expressed in my writings and in my lectures, you know, I wasn't really, you know, walking in blind. I was like, I know some people are going to disagree with me. As a matter of fact, I know most people are going to disagree with me, you know, but I truly believed over time that, you know, my findings, my insights would be relevant. You know, like I just felt as though, well, maybe I'm just ahead of my time. And now it's not an ego statement or arrogant statement, but I knew that what I was doing was based on not only experience, but study, you know, and again, going beneath the tip of the iceberg. And I just figured in time. But the fact that people trusted me, even if they didn't agree with me, they trusted that I was sincere. They trusted that I would, you know, that I was standing for what I believed in, not just what I was doing, but what I believed in, you know, was enough to keep the majority of people into this the Karade school. Okay, but the one thing, you know, the one thing that I've always done, and that is I put the burden of thought into people. So when I hear a grievance, I'm not quick to, oh, well, you know, that Baba this and they doing that and they doing that. I'm like, what do you think? You're an adult. And yes, you may be under duress, and you may even be traumatized. You may not understand the calling that you have. You know, there's a lot that you're going through right now. And all you're really left with is trusting, you know. And what I share then, now, and in the future is that we need to slow down, you know, and kind of recognize the fact that sometimes we jump into things that we're not really studied in. We, you know, we're moved by the winds, but we don't press our feet down to the ground, so to speak, you know, and we get, dare I say, carried away. So in respect to that, and like I said, I'm just giving an overview. The first response that I have is talking to that individual like they're grown, not like they, you know, that they're a child, and they've, you know, been kidnapped, you know. But it's like we need to kind of put a finger again on the pulse of this, so that you either A, have a conversation with these people and try to straighten this out, B, quietly leave the situation and attempt to find someplace else, even if you have to spend a little time in solitude. If you got to spend a little time in solitude, pick up some books, watch the podcast, start learning so that you can make better decisions, the educated consumer kind of directive. Okay. So that's the first thing I do. The second thing I do is to check myself. Okay. Now, it's more than coincidental that the day of Tawede, day 11, Ika, as the Odu, speaks of a Rumila. And this is back thousands of years ago, sharing with the Babalaos, okay, that you have to be earnest, you have to be honest, okay? You can't be manipulative. You can't keep people spinning on the small problems and not addressing the larger issues, okay? You can't keep putting out the small fires when the big fire keeps lighting the small fires back up. You have to deal with the larger, the more, powerful issues that this person is going through. In other words, don't be stringing people along. Okay. And that the Babalaos can't be moved by greed. He says that specifically in Ika. Can't be moved by greed. So it was an issue even back in the days of Orunmila. Okay. And I guess wherever you go and people are there, these issues, could be major kind of hurdles. But all of that combined, becoming the educated consumer so that you don't continually repeat. Because I have too many people's like, don't call me anymore because see, apparently you don't want to change. Okay, so you can't keep going to people and then complaining about people. It's like, come on, you're like in your 30s, you're in your 40s. Time to, step out of the childish state of mind and try to balance your life. So that's how I come across. Okay. And again, I need to make sure that I'm okay, especially, as I get older, that I'm not pulled into tit for tat and this is not done right and that's not done right and only I know the right way and all of that kind of madness. So just say that's 2. And 3 is referencing the Odu to see what Orunmila has to say about it. Okay. And all throughout the 16 Odu, there are little, points that are, sharp points in respect and in regards to how the priestly need carried themselves according to Orunmila and Orunmila's grace. Okay, Ashe. That's how I deal with it, brother. That's how I've always dealt with it.
Ashe. No, I appreciate it, and that raises, or I should say, poses several other questions that I would love to bring to the table to get your perspective and your insight on. And for me, I feel like I love this term. It's a quote: "How you do anything is how you do everything." So it's kind of like when we do certain things. So let's just say, for example, a person who cuts corners, right? So let's just hypothetically say, a person that works at a car wash. So if a person works at a car wash and their responsibility is, because down here we got a lot of automated car washes that I use because it's a lot easier. So like some of the guys that I go to, they take the scrub brush on the car, they'll hit the windshield, they'll hit the hood, they'll hit the bumpers, they'll hit the tires. You know what I'm saying? Like they go in, they get it popping. And then I go, excuse me, I go on another day, and then and the person that is there that day, they might be on their phone, they might take the brush with one hand, they might stroke the windshield maybe about 2-3 times and put it down and just keep on doing what they're doing. Right. So that's a real life scenario of how I see things. Mm-hmm. So the way I see that now is that in any position of any type of consumer-based organization, if you have people who are like the first guy who getting it in. He's hitting the windshield, he's hitting the doors, the rearview mirrors, the bumper, the hood, the tires. To me, now I'm gonna get your opinion on it, but to me, I feel like that person has the not only the wherewithal and the makeup, but that person has already not only tapped into their potential, but they've already tapped into their potential, and it's become a habit. It's become a habit of theirs to do their job the right way because that's what they have pretty much set as a fundamental, basic value, interest, or principle within themselves of their lives, right? So then the other person who they phone, they doing like this, they got it with one hand, and they just hitting the windshield about 2-3 little half-ass strokes, right? That person has then done the same thing. They have also, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, established their values, interests, or I should say, lack thereof, values, interests, and principles within their psyche, within their habits. Okay, so what I see is in this tradition, I feel like it's no different than the car wash. I feel like you have people who might do just like the last dude with their phone and take, do the bare minimum, and that's it. And then you got the other people who are gonna do like the first guy. They're gonna be hitting every phase and every aspect or section of that vehicle because they have already established in their mind that they're moving with integrity. They're moving with morality. They're moving with conviction that they are going to get the job done by any means necessary. That's the guy I want on my team. That's the guy I want to work with. That's the guy I would love to be able to eventually invest in, because that guy has not only the potential, but has, I feel like, a high likelihood of being the guy who's not only going to do well at that job, they're going to perform and move up the ladder, and they're going to get to a position to where they're either going to be in leadership, or they're going to be over a whole nother car wash, or hell, they might even start their own car wash or any other business for that matter, because what they've done, they have put down and laid the cement concrete block of fundamental values, interests, and principles to take not only their life to the next level, but to take their whole experience to the next level. Because the person who does what's needed and goes above and beyond is the person that the universe is always going to throw that E-ray to, always going to throw that good break to, always going to put them in the position to be in front of or in alignment with the right people at the right time for the opportunity to be given to them to get to the next level so that they can expand and shine. And when I see and hear about these things that we're talking about, I take it personal, because like you said earlier when we first started, in regards to seeing some of the topics or some of the things that we're doing or talking about here in other places. But I was not feeling good and I couldn't talk. You remember I told you I wanted to talk about that and I left it alone. But since we on the subject,
I brought it up, right?
I'm gonna keep it a trilly, because I do this because I love this, Baba. Like Ashe is built out of pure, sheer love and passion, period. Right. And anybody who's been a part of this and who's been, on any of our calls and seeing, how we move and what we do, they know that. So, but I want to share with our audience because, like I said, this channel is 8 months old. So most people probably only know me for 8 months, in regards to this particular platform. But I've been doing this work since 2017. I first started with public speaking in like 2016, and I started doing it professionally since 2017. I've been writing books, I've been consulting, I've been a business consultant, a business coach, et cetera, et cetera. I say that humbly. I'm not saying that to brag or anything, but I'm saying it from a sense of being someone who has a level of authority in a certain particular demographic when it comes to education, when it comes to teaching, when it comes to coaching and consulting. I've been doing it for almost 10 years. And I've been in the classroom from the elementary school level all the way to the corporate level, and doing this work. So this isn't brand new to me. This channel's new to me, but this work isn't new to me. But I've seen people who are doing some of the things that we're doing, and I feel like they're doing it in a way that's not operating from that same level of what we're talking about with the guy from the car wash, number one. Because you can't come out here and build an academy overnight, or build a school overnight, or build all these different types of institutes or whatever the case may be overnight. And I would dare to say anybody who works with those types of people, make sure that you can check resumes, make sure you can check receipts, make sure you can fact check that these people are truly credible enough, or I dare to say have the resume to actually say that they are teachers, say that they are consultants, or that they're, hell, I hate to say this, but in some instances, even priests. I've been in circles and around places where I've seen a person at one time, and they're working, you know, pretty much working from the same level I'm working as a brand new devotee, you know, trying to find my way, and then see them a couple more months, and all of a sudden they're a Babalawo, or they're a priest. And I'm just like, yeah, what
Didn't
did
I
you do?
just see you yesterday?
Yeah, like, listen, and and I'm not judging, and I've heard this, but had locks, like I had locks, and they came back and their whole priest, and the lock's still there. I'm like, well, shit, what did you go to? Because where I went, that had to go. That's non-negotiable. This is a whole new world, man. It's a whole new life, a whole new birth, and a whole new experience. So it's like, I kind of want to really share that, you know, with our tribe and with our listeners, man, because it's a lot going on. And, you know, I just want people to make sure that do your research, do your due diligence. I don't buy anything off of anywhere, like even Amazon. If I bought some medicine for my dogs a couple weeks ago, and I literally went through the reviews for probably about 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, because I want to see if this product really works before I spend my hard-earned money, you know what I'm saying, in regards to buying it. But because, you know, long story short, because the reviews were so many and so good, I went ahead and did it, and it worked. But I just say all that to say, when it comes to content creators, or it comes to spiritual advisors or spiritual consultants or any type of business or service, you know, if you can, try to do some digging and see if you can get any, you know, receipts or any type of testimonials, referrals, etc. So that way, you know who and what you're dealing with in regards to lowering the percentages of being somebody who's in the position of feeling like they've been taken advantage of. How about what you got?
Well, I can only echo, you know, your words of wisdom, because see, you know, going back to the first example that I shared, you know, and just like the people at the car wash, okay,
At the car wash,
yeah, okay, all right, it's that, you know, and I say this with nothing but love. Sometimes we jump in without wanting to do the work ourselves.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and especially now in a technological age where it is just a simple click of a keypad, or a Google, or an email, you know, so that, you know, gathering information, you know, like you said, reading what people have to say. Now, granted, it's not going to get 100%, but if you do the research, you know, and you kind of vibe, and oh, this person has some books out, this person has been in it for over 5 years, and, you know, and no real scandals, you know, nothing really happening. You know what I mean? This person does ABC. I can kind of vibe with A and B. C, I'm not, you know, too hip on, but for the most part, I'm going to go with this, as opposed to I went on Etsy, and the Babalao, you know, charging me $65, and I decided right then and there that I was going to give him a call, and the next thing you know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. You ain't even check the credentials. You know what I mean? So if the priestly are stepping in certain directions, and then the people are stepping in certain directions, and everybody going over a cliff, you know, my statement is, let those priestly folks go over the cliff. I'm standing right here. I'm standing right here. Because just because they're priestly, that doesn't mean that they're personable. That doesn't mean that they even care. Okay. I mean, it really doesn't. And you and I had this conversation, and I just want to key in on it momentarily, because I thought it was a valuable conversation. And that is, how can people do this to other people? You know, how can people enslave other people? How can people brutalize other people? How can people take advantage of those who are at their most fragile place? And I remember, my response, because I had just gone over it, the timing couldn't have been more perfect.
Yeah, because I was in a bit of a tizzy about it. I was pissed off.
Well, and well, you should be.
Like yeah, I don't like people doing that, man.
Yeah. And the whole thing is that thin line that separates us, that thin line that separates people in a society, however the hierarchy is, the stratums, you know what I mean? You're up here and you're in the middle and you're in the lower and all that kind of thing. Those lines are thin because what people don't want to do is feel for others. And I've experienced Babalaos I know didn't really see me. I've been in delays where I know people weren't even trying to feel me. They were just trying to get me to do what they wanted me to do, regardless of how I felt, regardless of what I thought. As a matter of fact, the emphasis of the delays was to not think, and basically you just, kind of do what the Orisha say you're supposed to do through me. I remember one instance, the ear came to me and she was like, well, we made up this, this big stew. And I was like, okay, well, what's in it? Well, we got pork and we got this. I said, well, I don't eat pork. And she was like, well, Shango wants you to eat pork and wants you to eat the soup. And I said, I don't eat pork. You know what I mean? And if Shango going to be all twisted because I don't eat that soup, then I have to question either you, because is that what you want me to do? Or is Shango so unbalanced, and not seeing me and what my spiritual essence is, then I'm either in the wrong faith or in the wrong place.
Yes, sir.
So I just decided that I was in the wrong place because I knew that my Obatala essence, and I knew that my ancestral essence, and I knew that my Rumina essence was like, you can't do that. You can't do it. Now everybody else doing it. Now I'm not telling anybody what, that y'all got to do it, or why y'all doing it. Better yet, why y'all doing this? Y'all shouldn't be eating pork, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, I don't care what you're doing. I mean, at the end of the day, because see, I'm not trying to control this. I can dance with people who don't know how to dance. I can play with musicians who don't really know how to play that well. Okay. But the whole thing is, I'm not going to try to control the situation unless I'm asked to assist in the betterment of the situation, not just, do it because, Shango said do it, or do it because I'm the ear and I'm telling you to do it. I'm saying, you don't tell me what to do. You don't tell me what to do. You can talk to me, but not seeing me, because although that line is thick, it's like made out of steel, or should I say thin, it's made out of steel. But, people who can see through it can see through it. It's like, I need to question if you really care about me. Not because I'm a child, but because I'm grown, and I'm not going to deal with anybody who's not vibing with me positively and who basically wants to control the narrative. I'm writing my book about me in this world. And of course, people want to ostracize me and talk about he's a troublemaker and blah, blah, blah. Well, so was the St. Overture, So was Nat Turner. So was Harriet Tubman. You know what I mean? If we didn't have people shaking the ground and freeing people up, then we would just be stuck under, slave chains, consistently. And under someone else's rule, I just can't abide by it, man. I just can't, But meanwhile, wrote a best-selling book, put IFA on the map across the globe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Meanwhile, being influential. Meanwhile, bringing IFA into colleges and high school. Meanwhile, So apparently, Shango was okay with me. You know what I mean? I didn't have to eat the soup. I'm like, you got some fruit, you got some pomegranates, you got some red fruit up in here. You got,
You only been doing it about as long as I've been on the planet, at least in this incarnation. So yeah, I would think so.
but man, it grain of salt, bro. You know what I mean? It's people are going to be people, and folks are stuck in their ways, and I can understand that. I'm not trying to change. I'm just trying to bring about thoughtfulness, mindfulness, grown upness, to say that establish your person. Like I may have shared it with you before, but very briefly, the sister had had her Yemoja or Ota, her stones, inside of a aquarium like thing, and had the fish in there and had the Yemoja stone and all of that, and people were going off. They were chastising her, made the sister feel bad to the point where I wasn't even hearing her as a part of the conversations anymore. And I'm like, you see what you're doing? You see what you're doing? Oh, this wasn't done right. And, you should be doing this. And Yemoja only wants this. And she doesn't want to be, in an aquarium, but she can be in a pot with a top on it. I mean, really, come on now. Okay. But the heart of the matter, my brother, is if that's what that woman felt her relationship was with Yemoja, and she was at peace with that, and she was moving forward with that, who are all these people to come back? Oh, Oloye, you don't have 8 stones in your pot for Obatala. And I'm like, so what? Well, you're supposed to have 8 pots. Well, it wasn't done right, blah, blah, blah. I got this in Edgy-Bo with elders and people who you wouldn't probably stand 2 minutes in front of before they just read your behind and put you out, coming in with all of that, smack you on the hand with a ruler kind of bull.
Yeah, the hierarchy, supremacy, that supremacy.
Yeah. But I'm saying, that 1 stone in my pot is worth 800 stones in your pot. Trust me.
And it came from initiators with over 180 years on the planet.
Thank you. So now, but you see what I'm saying? You don't care about me. You don't even want to talk to me about it. You just want to tell me.
Yes, sir.
And that shows me that for all the time that you've been in Yoruba, okay, that you have developed a way of distancing yourself from Olodumare, that you have developed a way of crystallizing your Orisha, as opposed to letting them breathe, letting them, be adaptable, letting them be understanding that everybody in the town, in the empire, is not going to be marching to the beat of the same drummer. 2 dancers will dance differently. 2 drummers will drum differently. Even in Edgy-Bo, the Obatala people on one side of the street worshipped and put forth for Obatala on the other side of the street. And I'm like, ain't this interesting? Because see, these people over here are like, you got to do it this way. Well, no, I don't have to do it this way. Okay. Now I can take guidelines. Okay. But I'm free. I'm free. I'm a free spirit. And isn't that what all spirits are striving to become? So take your little ruler and don't even try to smack my hand with it, because see, I'm not going for that. I'm not going for it. I'm telling you before you even raise your hand. Okay. that we have to free ourselves. Guidelines, yes. Okay. But room to be grown and to establish our relationships, a resounding yes.
Mm.
You know, but again, what as the kids say, IMO, in my opinion.
Mm.
There's other folks who will say, you know, we need to exile, you know, him. We need to send him somewhere and let him just die because, you know, he's too daggone revolutionary.
Hey,
But I'm like, you ain't seen nothing yet, Jack.
I know that's right. Say it with your chest. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. So, you know, I didn't mean to go on about it. But
Look, that's what we're here for, man. I'm telling you, that's what we're here for. So, but you know that was a phenomenal tie-in to where I wanted to go now. What would you say, Baba, is of more significance? And this is something that we spoke about recently too, based off my own personal experiences, but also there's definitely, I feel like, a gray area where people would like to know more about this particular topic. So I would love for you if you could share your perspective on it. But in regards to ritual, right, and let's say like the celebration, or I should say the honoring of the O'Shea days of the calendar, or venerating a particular deity on their particular day, like the other day was the World Eshu Day, for example. But let's just say, for the sake of you know accessibility and transparency, with not going too deep, but like the 4-day or 5-day O'Shea calendar, right? In regards to like appeasing Orumila on Ifa, day, or Ita Dogun, or O'Shea Ifa, etc. Which one do you feel like is more important in regards to the devotee or the priest or priestess, Babalawo, Yanifa, etc.? Do you feel like when we do these types of offerings and rituals that it's more effective or important and holds more weight if the timeliness takes place when you do it on that particular day, the day that is O'Shea Ifa, etc., etc., or do you feel like the consistency holds more weight? So, perfect example, like, okay, let's say one priest every single O'Shea Ifa day, or O'Shea Shango day, Ogun day, etc., they don't necessarily give the offerings and appease them on that particular day. However, they are consistent, whereas they're giving offerings to their ancestors, the Gungun and the Orishas, on a consistent basis. So let's say they might miss O'Shea Ifa yesterday, but they came back and did it today. Is that something that you feel like is, for one, acceptable, and for two, which one do you feel like is more important? The person who doesn't do it as consistent, but they do it on the right day, or the person who might not be doing it on the right day, but they're pretty much giving offerings and practicing every day? Which one do you feel like holds more weight and is more important?
Okay, well, I'm gonna share this with you before I dive in.
Okay.
You probably asked the wrong person.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
No, you did.
That's why I asked.
You know who you're talking to, right?
I do. Yes, sir. I do.
So I'm going to share this with you and the people.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the discipline of ritual is important. The consistency of ritual is important. The dedicated practice is important. And that goes for any endeavor. Whatever you're trying to do, or whatever you're trying to learn, or whatever you're trying to master, okay, it's going to take dedicated practice. And by dedicated practice, we mean practice not with the group, but with yourself and that which you are attempting to master. Now, as a musician, I've had to share that with people, other musicians and groups whom I was hired to, make the band better. When I had my own band, it's like I don't really need to see you practicing at practice. I need for you to construct a dedicated time per day as best you can. And yes, it's best as they kind of state empirically that at a certain time of day is best, you know. So if I practice at 3 o'clock, but what if you can't practice 3 o'clock? What if you got kids to pick up? Okay. What if you can't practice the same time every day? Does that make you less able to master your discipline than somebody who can practice at the same time every day? I think not. Okay. So that being said, it is the consistency and it is the effort that's put in. Now, let's just say that's level 1. Level 2 is, okay, it depends on how long you've been doing it. When I was in Ejibo, there was that, and I put this in Ojise, there's one Babalao of Babalaos for everything that was going on. For the most part, he just sat there. And sometimes he smiled at me, and sometimes he looked at me like, you know, you got some work to do. You know what I mean? You are paying attention here, right? You know, we may not be speaking the same language all the time, but you look like you got enough, you know, to kind of, you know, vibe with what's going on here. So he wasn't doing the disciplines as the youth, the younger, the Kekere Awos were doing day after day. I hope you see where I'm going here.
Oh,
so
yeah,
what a person does to develop their mastery, and I use that term very, very loosely, because does anyone truly ever master whatever their endeavor is? Does anyone truly master themselves or master their instrument or their art? No. But as one becomes older in it, okay, regardless of their age, but as one becomes older in it and they've been practicing consistently, even though it may not be the same time, because what if now you go on tour? What if now you have, you know, a bimbe or a string of divinations, and you can't practice the same time every day, but you get it in some form or fashion. You understand? So when the time comes, when you feel as though the disciplines now aren't the same as they were before, and they found this out empirically, because see, I study this kind of stuff, and it's like the people who have been practicing for 10 years, performing 10 years, working on their craft for 10 years, let's just say, have reached a certain point where they practice less time, but they practice more intently, and they practice on more more skillfully, you know, a kind of thing.
Kind of like on a sliding scale. How you can evaluate things based upon kind of like the weight of, kind of like in college. I know certain assignments when I was in school held a lot more weight than other assignments. So it's like you can, yeah. Okay.
So they were practicing harder things, but because they had the basics down and had, you know, ingrained it through performing, and, you know, like at a certain point, how many divinations do you have to do before it kind of clicks,
right?
That I can do this, you know, that I got this. And so now I can variate. Now I can become an innovator. Now I'm lending new technique from my unique position. I'm not needing to be, you know, in the cookie cutter category. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that negatively, because there are times when we should be in the cookie cutter category, you know, just like going through boot camp in the military. You know, we got to get this right before we can start branching off and doing other things. But so, in respect, to your question, it depends on where you are on it. And if you see someone, especially an elder, who's not doing it, that doesn't mean that they've abandoned the culture, or they're not doing it right because they're not doing A, B, C, D, E. It just means that at a certain point, it's like, yo, I got this. I got books to write. I got to give forth another type of energy. And I used to tell this to my initiates. It's like, at one point the training wheels are going to come off, and you're going to need to know if you can balance with this or not. So initially, having the discipline, and answer to your question, more directly, is consistency beats, the exact timing, of it. Okay? Yeah. I may do it 6 o'clock in the morning one day, and the next day stuff come up and I wind up doing it 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I just can't, unless, of course, we're in an environment like, say, an Ile, and we're on a retreat or something. Yeah. You understand? And there's no outside,
right,
pressures. Then it's like, all right, everybody, we're up at 6. We got meditation. We got Tai Chi. We're going to get in and work with our Obi, our Mirindi Lagoon, Babalaos in the Opwale room. Okay. It's 7:45. 7:45 every day that you're here, we're going to hit. Now, when you go home, you might not be able to do that. But you still might be able to get it in, and that's where, your creativity comes. And then after you do it for a number of years, you might feel as though, well, I don't have to do this every day, but I have to do something. I have to work on something, like you were saying about the college, a more difficult assignment, which may give me a little bit more freedom to kind of pursue what I'm, what I'm feeling myself to do with all this. So, my brother, that would be my response. Hopefully I didn't shake up too much.
No, I loved it. I loved it as usual. And it kind of, it reminded me of a couple of different things that I look at. So, for example, I'm gonna take it like I feel like the military metaphor was a perfect example of exactly what, how that goes. But I'm gonna take it another step in regards to business, right? So you know that I have, I don't know, 7, 8 different business coaches, for 7, 8 different business, industries, right? Yes. But the way I look at it is, if there's something that I want to know, what I've learned early in my journey in regards to being an entrepreneur, especially in the realm of content creation, whether it's being an author or anything, but I'll just use content creation. Before I wrote my very first book, I was blessed to have a mentor. Shout out to Crystal Center Brown, the only person I know that has their own holiday. Their own street named after them. No, I'll take it back. Their own holiday. She has her own holiday where I'm from, in the city that I was born in, from the work that she's done, community work. But she held my hand through the process of writing my first book, Tips. So for me, that made that challenge, or I should say that goal, so much more easy for me to accomplish. You know what I mean? Because I had someone who had already done it. I think at the time she might have had about 5, 6 books she had written. So someone who had a ton of experience, like you just said about the seasoned veteran Babalao, held my hand and guided me through the process. So that made my process so much easier, smoother, and faster than someone who just says they're going to write a book without having nobody that they know, have ever written a book, let alone someone who's written multiple, teach them the process of writing that book, right? So I take that to something we spoke about recently when it comes to my marketing and my content creation coaches that I've shared with you, that the way, one of them taught me is that every aspect and phase within your business, you need to make sure that you know how to do that particular activity, or that particular job that needs to be done, task that needs to be done by yourself before you start hiring virtual assistants, or you start hiring other teammates and staff to actually do any of it. Because if you don't know how to do it yourself, and it comes back to what we talked about mastery, if you don't know how to do any of it yourself, then how would you know if the person that you hire actually knows how to do it either? Or do they know how to do it to the level that they, presented themselves on their resume or on their, their credentials or their application, whatever the case may be. And that was something that, I ain't gonna lie, that was a game changer for me, because I had already been working with, virtual assistants, and I've been hiring people online to do different tasks and jobs for me for a long time prior to, me meeting this coach. And now I see like there was the $1 million worth of game within that particular, one message he gave me, because I'm like, damn, I could have saved a lot of time and a lot of money had I would have had him as a coach, back in 2016, because a lot of the things that I made a lot of mistakes in, I could have like drove around or drove through, because I would have had someone, just like I said with the book scenario, who has already been through those growing pains and pretty much, ran over those hurdles and drove through those walls. So it's like he already knows the answers to how to, get me from where I am to the next level, because he's already a few levels ahead. So I say all that to say, in our spiritual practices, I do believe it's the same exact thing, and hell, I'll even use Ashe as an example. The fact that and I say this humbly, but I say this proudly, because it is a major accomplishment, and I'm going to give us some flowers, not just myself, but us as a tribe, including you, Baba, and all of our past guests, the flowers of we've done something in the time that it takes for a baby to develop from the spermatozoa to fertilize the egg and to develop in the mother's womb. We have literally went from 0 to I'm very confident we'll be over 2,000 by the time 2025 hits. So within an 8-month span and less time than it takes to make a baby, we've already grown and accumulated 2,000 people who have a similar, I say mindset, or a similar passion to not just African spirituality, but the culture of Ifa, Isheshe, and African spirituality and cultural heritage and traditions. So that within itself showed me in the very beginning, if you put up videos consistently and you put them up every day, you can't help but to grow, because YouTube is going to help you grow, because you're helping them grow. The more eyes you have on the channel, the more they get paid. The more they get paid, the more you get compensated. You know what I'm saying? But the hell with the money. I feel like from our perspective, from our platform, the more we're pouring in, the more our tribe receives. The more our tribe receives, the more they pour right back into us, which that's what you and I talk about on a regular basis, about how excited we are to do the things that we do, because we do it for the right reasons and we're doing it for the right people. So it's like when you have those dynamics in alignment, I feel like then the spirit, the universe, the ancestors, the Orisha, like everybody else is going to be in alignment with you, because you've already put yourself in position to be in alignment. So I say all that to say that there's nothing that I feel like can beat experience, and repetition. And one thing I know, and especially even in the content creation world, is that consistency is the cheat code. The more consistent you are, the more you're going to grow, and the more you're going to have an impact in whatever, niche industry, platform, whatever you're doing, because people only remember the people they see every day, especially in these days and times, in regards to how, the devices and electronics and games and social media and TV and movies and all that is pulling everybody's attention in so many different ways, shapes, forms, and fashions. So, you might have a bomb show that, impacts 100,000 people, but if you only do that once every 6 months, how often do you think them saying 100,000 going to be back to see you in the next 6 months? But if you got a small little channel where you might post something every single day, you might only have 6 people. But I bet you them 6 people going to show up for you pretty much every single day, because they're used to seeing you every single day, and they're going to ride for you because you're there every single day. So that can't help but to grow. So I look at our process and our journey when it comes to, spirituality, and it comes to our experience, no matter what it is that we're doing, if we're consistently putting in something every day, I do wholeheartedly feel like we're going to get something back, because I've seen it in my own process with my own journey, in regards to Ifa and Isheshe. Yes, sir. And so with that, Baba, what is the proper way for, let's say, a new devotee who may have just received their warriors, right? What would be the proper way for that person to, I guess, greet the warriors, but also like to work with them? So say, for example, if they wanted to work with Eshu and they wanted to, get some help with decisions or communication, or, there was at the crossroads with a decision that they needed to make with a significant other, or with, their children or child or at a job or whatever. What are some of the ways that we as devotees or even priests and priestesses can approach, the Orisha for, to appease them, but also to ask for their assistance and guidance?
Well, again,
I'm gonna share some comments before you go. These are from earlier, but I want to make sure I share them. So that I just because one was waiting on you to respond to my last question, because they knew you was gonna go in, and I knew you was too. That's why it was funny to me. But
all right. I love the LOL because it's like it's on point. Well, that kind of reminds me of what you said. Like I said, I know it seems like I'm a little this way and that, and you were like, no, the people love it, Bobby. Nobody wants you, nobody trying to change you up in here. Just the old grandpa. You just gonna come in and it's like, look, I ain't got time to be playing with y'all youngins. I'm gonna tell you right now.
That's what I love from day one. From the first time we started talking, man, I was like, boy, hey, if I'm a raw dog, boy, I'm here for it. I love it.
Oh God.
I love it. Yes, and the tribe do too. Trust me.
Yeah, the joy that it brings to me, there's just no words for it. It's all heartfelt. All right, now what was the topic? When what was
like what is the best way for
the warrior,
someone who maybe just got to the phase, stage 2 of the initiation, like we're working with the warriors, like maybe going to SU for assistance with making decisions or communicating, with a loved one, a child, or a job or whatever the case may be. But like going to them, like what's the best way to approach them, and like what offers to give them, and then how do we ask properly for their guidance and assistance without kind of being coming with that "what have you done for me lately" type.
I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna ask everybody to hold on.
Okay.
Because there's an oriki, there's an adage that states, "Behold, Ifa is supreme."
I share.
But wise consultation before divination. Wise consultation
I like that.
before approaching the Orisha. Now, see, this is a major chunk out of our generational experiences in this country. And dare I say now, throughout the diaspora. Imagine a time when you did have a question about your relationship, and you knew your father, you knew your mother, you knew your grandfather, you knew your grandmother, you knew your great-grandfather, you knew your great-grandmother. There was some societies, if you couldn't go back 4, 5, 6, 7 generations, then they didn't want you to marry their daughter. They didn't want you to marry their son. Why? Not because there was a bunch of old folks around, but because there was wisdom in the room. There was wisdom in the house. There was a continuation of a certain way of being that led to the continuation of generational spiritual wealth, one of our podcasts, along with generational wealth. But when those chunks were cut from us, and we no longer had, mother was sold off when I was 5. I never did know daddy. He was a breeder. You understand? So we didn't have the consultation part. We didn't have the elders. We didn't have the village, it takes a village to raise a child kind of reality, kind of more or less a cliche, these days and times. But at one point it was actual, and I even had little taste of it, when I was coming up down south, before we migrated up to Jersey. But the whole thing is that statement, that adage, Behold, IFA is supreme, but wise consultation before divination, wise consultation before approaching the Orisha. It's basically to say that if you can work it out with the elders, if you can work it out with your children, if you can work it out with your employer or your employees, based on perhaps your study of psychology, based on perhaps, you know, your natural inclination and insights, you know, your intuition. I got a gut feeling about this. If you trust your gut enough, then, as the saying it goes, you know, why dismiss it? You know, you're 35, 40 years old, you know? And so, you know, not trusting yourself becomes a question. Now, if, again, there is no lineage that you can turn to, and if you have self-doubt, and it need not be the result of low self-esteem or any trauma. It's just like, I really need this job, but I want to quit. I want, you know what I mean? I'm having internal conflict, you know. Then it's like, okay, perhaps I should pull out my Obi, consult my warriors, my SU, specifically in this case, which road should I take? And then, before you even cast, what commitment have you made to abide by the cast? What commitment have you made? Because there's been instances where people have turned the shell over to favor their
desired outcome.
To favor.
Real quick, I didn't mean to cut you off, but can you before you go into finishing, can you kind of like highlight that part right there, because that's a very, very intricate, I feel like I should say very fundamental diamond jewel you just dropped about the commitment before even casting. Can you share like the significance and what you mean, and like just a little, because I mean, you know, can we say it louder for the people in the back, including myself, because I want to get that too.
Are you going to be committed to the cast, the determining factor? Are you going to be committed? Because if it says, yes, you should, and you don't want to do it, and you say, well, no, I'm not, so you turn over that shell, then my question is, what was the point? What was the point? You know? And if it says no, and you want to do it, and you turn the shell over to favor the outcome, as Baba Orisha Bami stated, then what was the point? What, I mean, really, what was the point? So, you know, and then there's this thing about, well, I want to do it, so I'm going to go to my issue, to my warriors to get what I want. I've already determined that I want to do it. Now it's, well, what offering do I need to make? Okay, what abode do I need to do? And you know, I'm not here to judge or say what's right or what's wrong, because a lot of people do that as well. They've already made up their mind. They just need to be empowered or strengthened. And if there's no one around to assist in that process, then we tend to pour that onto our need for divine intervention, divine support. But that's what the divinities are there for. But I caution people, and I have been since the 90s, if not the 80s. Don't go to your divinities seeking to do harm to others.
Sure.
You know, now I know it's done. and I know that it's popularized over the mass media, you know. Well, then, you know, going to do that thing, you know what I mean? The whole conjurer thing. And I'm like, well, if you can conjure to hurt somebody, why can't you conjure to help somebody? You know, that you shouldn't divine. Now, this is just my spirit talking.
Right.
That divining for someone without their knowledge is a step into temptation, because once you get comfortable doing that, then you get real comfortable doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of, well, at least to me, lacks a certain kind of moral construct.
Integrity.
And then you don't know what you're putting on that person. For example, and I'll be brief. I've heard and I've read accounts where, and I'll mention two, where people have gone to Shango to do harm against someone else, and Shango and that someone else did suffer, but because Shango wasn't appeased, I'll use your term, like say the person couldn't afford the ram, and they just gave, you know, some akara or something, you know what I mean? Just gave a dish. Shango, oh yeah,
you know, something.
Yeah. Shango's like, oh, you had me do this work and you're not paying me? We got a problem. So now you done unleash something on someone that's more than karma. It's just every action is a reaction. So now you have to handle the weight of that, not only from a moral construct, but that person got real hurt. I mean, was it that serious? Was I in such a, you know, the term we use, was I in such a tizzy that I had to go to my Orisha to, you know, to do something to hurt somebody? What kind of person am I? And then when something happens to that person, you know, and now you're feeling bad or glad, but then something happened to you. Or somebody that you love, because you really can't pay these forces back like you think you can. You might think you working them and controlling them, but you don't know what you got.
Sure don't.
You just don't know. So why even go down that road? Oh, my boss, you know, hollered at me today, so I'm gonna go to my SU. I mean, how old are you again? You understand what I'm saying? You know, now I might go to my SU because I think I might have to quit. I really need the job, but I think I can't have SU. Please help me. That's a whole nother thing. So when you talk about approaching the divinities, one, if you don't have a moral and psychological and lineage support, like you talked about the relationship. You mean ma and grandma can't talk to you? Like, I don't think you should roll with that with this individual, or I think you should. He seems like a nice person, or she seems like a nice person. You know what I mean? But why do I have to go to my divinities for that? You know, I'm grown. I got elders around me. You know, but again, when there's inner conflict, you know, then we go to our divinities, but we don't go to bring about harm. We go to bring about upliftment, elevation of self, because maybe all we need to do is change our perspective. You know, so that's one thing. And you know, with the Shango instance, because what I had come across was like, it's not really, you know, a good thing to think you got it like that. You know, on the other side is sister went to get a love charm. Okay, she swore out she was in love with this guy. Okay, the whole love potion number 9 thing, you know, from back in the day.
Yeah. I remember that song. That was a song, wasn't it?
Yeah, love potion number 9. So she goes and gets the love potion from the hoodoo woman, you know, and you know the whole thing. I don't even want to mention what some sisters do, you know.
And I've heard some different things.
Yeah, but got homeboy all wrapped up, you know what I mean? So they get married, you know, and you know, baby girls all happy, you know, well the spell worked and this and that and the other thing. And then, you know, one day they have it out and he beats her half to death. You know, because what she was refusing to see were his triggers. What she was refusing to investigate, like you say, was his resume.
Yeah.
Okay, what I mean? But because, you know, she was in the moment, and my sister, I'm not trying to, you know, point fingers, because brothers, you know, get all wrapped up in forget to check the resume, and
yeah,
you know, let's go to the doctor first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
we just get all in it.
Yes, sir.
You know, be spelled, all right, and then regret. So even though, and then you know, when the sister kind of recovers, and now she's, you know, hobbling and going back to the root woman, talking about, you know, well, I came to you, you know, and you went to the spirits, and the spirits got me, and then he look how he beat me so bad. And the older woman was like, I did what you asked me. You know, were you not warned about this individual? Well, yeah, my grandma told me that I should slow down. Well, what? You want your money back? That ain't gonna happen. Okay. You know, you want your soul back? You already sold it. You know, why didn't you listen to your grandmother? You know, why didn't you do what you were supposed to do? Oh, because you was all caught up like that. You see? So short story long, you know, that's kind of the backdrop for why are we going to our divinities, and what state of mind, heart, and soul should we have when we do go? How productive do we think we're going to be if we just, you know, I got to go to my shoe, I got to feed this, I got to do that. And like I had one sister, you know, look inside your Ogun pot. You see everything that's in there. Yes, I do. Well, what does any of it represent or symbolize? I don't know. And so I directed her to the podcast that we had.
I sure. Yeah.
You understand? What was it on Warriors and Ochosi?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
I was like, oh, well, now I'm starting to understand. Oh, well, see, 5 years ago when you got this, you're just thinking you can go to Ogun and Ogun's going to open the way, you know, or you can go to Obatala and Obatala is going to, you know, bless you and all that kind of thing. It's like, it doesn't work like that, people. That's why Ori is, you know, and your heart and your soul, you know, and that's why good people, you know, like right here, right now, you know, we're reshaping the world with Ifa and Isheshe. You know, we're not vomiting on the world, all of our vileness. You know, when we go to our Orisha, we go with humility and a certain love for them. Oh, and lastly, I brought up an instance about a movie I had seen, you know, back in the day. Because remember, I was going to the movies when movies were a quarter back in the day.
I remember the dollar movie back in my day.
Yeah, man, we would give the movies a quarter, 50 cents, and then had the White Castle across the street on Atlantic Avenue.
Burgers, okay.
Yeah, man, just back in the 50s and whatnot. But yeah, there was this one particular movie, and that's when all the vampire and the Frankenstein movies were coming out. Boris Karloff and all them wild, Bela Lugosi and all them wild people, you know. But there's one flick, and if for some reason it just impressed itself on my mind. You know how when you hold up the cross, the vampires and the wicked forces, they're supposed to back up. But in this instance, the people were holding up the cross, and the vampires, they were still swooping them up, and they were like, "Well, how come the cross not working?" You know. And the Dracula character was like, it's not about the cross, it's about your belief in it. Your belief in it. And I just thought that was so deep that even, you know, the writer who put that in there, because everything else was the cross, 99.9%, you hold up that cross, you know, evil forces depart. But this writer was like, oh, I'm going to do something that's going to shake people up. That cross ain't going to be enough. It's going to be about your belief. That SU is not enough. It's about your belief. Those warriors are not enough. It's about your belief. Okay? Because it's your belief that lasts. They're there to assist you in strengthening who you are, not relinquishing who you are. Leave that for the Abrahamics. Okay? Strengthening who you are. It's not a one-way thing. It's a reciprocal kind of energy building, essence building, life building relationship that we have with our divinities, our elders, each other. You see? So next time you go to your Orisha, please keep this in mind. Please. We'll all be made better when we all do it. Ashe.
No, that's powerful, Baba. And Coach made a strong statement too. He made it a while ago, but I wanted to wait to bring his to the floor because I wanted to comment. I wanted to go deeper in depth with what his statement was. But he made the statement where we were talking about pretty much like karma. We were saying about people who was doing work against other people or divine, and for people without their consent, things of that nature. You know how that can. I feel like that would bring some karma back that you probably ain't gonna want. Because you know you're doing things that you probably shouldn't do. But he was saying how he doesn't want the ashes to blow back in his face. But that's a real comment, and Kosi. And if I'm not mistaken, Baba, you actually have a proverb in the handbook that even speaks exactly to that. I think it's something along the lines of it, like what you throw up sand
back in the face of those who throw them.
Yes, sir. And I got one that's very similar as well. And I learned this from another elder, and she was teaching me about, you know, the same thing, same kind of like the same principles that you're teaching us about now. She was telling me that, you know, in the beginning of my journey. And I recall she was like, don't ever, you know, do any work intentionally or negatively towards somebody. She was like, because that at that point, now you done drove off and took the exit from the highway of Isheshe, Ifa, and Orisha, and you done drove onto the exit of witchcraft and black magic and sorcery by doing those types of things. And she said, and to drive the point further home, she was like, that's the equivalent of walking up to a big pile of dog dung and picking it up and throwing it. She was like, yeah, you can hit the person you mad at with that, but it's going to take a long time to get that off, if you ever get that all completely fully off your head. And I was like, boy, that ain't a metaphor, boy. That's going to make it hit, man, for real. So,
that's real deep right there. No,
so, yeah, that's
as dank as they are. You know?
Man. Shoot. Yeah, because it's like pretty much putting your spirit. The way I took it from her, it's like putting your spirit or auric or soul body, you know, in contact with that ish, you know, with the dung, you know what I'm saying, with the manure. Because it's like spirit don't, you know what I'm saying, spirit can see all, you know all, hear all, you know, be all. So it's like you can't just, even though you wash your hand off from having that manure on your hands, that don't mean that your spirit got cleaned off from having that. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, that's deep.
Yeah, and I've heard some people, you know, state quietly, you know, or imply. Well, so then, what's the purpose? Why even be in, you know, Isheshe if I can't use these powers, you know, to slay my enemies? You know, if I can't use these powers to get what I want. And I'm like, well, first of all, who are you? you know,
Mhm.
and who is it that you consider an enemy and why? Okay. Um, and then there's a question, like I drove home in Place of Nights, War and Resurrection, when Amina was speaking to the divine entity Baluku, and Baluku was like, well, you want to do something against your enemies, and your enemies want to do something against you. So
Mhm.
at the end of the day, all you got left is bombed buildings. No, nobody's alive. So do you really consider these people enemies that you can't overcome? Okay, like freedom fighters, from Nelson Mandela to Sant, to
Mhm.
Nat
Done that.
Turner and everybody. Okay, now there are exceptions. There are situations. Okay, but it's mostly because the empowerment that Ogun gives, for example, to go out and fight. It's not like we just sitting down and Ogun's doing the battle.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's like we need leadership, we need strategy. We need people with the heart and the courage to go out and do this. And Ogun is lending this to us, and what we're giving back to Ogun is the strengthening of his spirit to handle things on other levels. Because that's like saying, you know, my God is stronger than your God, and we just going to keep going at it, you know. But on everyday levels, like what we're talking about now,
Mhm.
you know, oh well, I got beef with this person. I'm gonna go to my Orisha, or they hurt my feelings, and I'm gonna go. I really don't think that that's a good idea. I don't think that's the best of us. Now, elevating ourselves beyond the situation, well, like, yeah, I know this person don't like me, but I ain't going to be in that circle anymore anyway. You understand? And as
Mhm.
long as they ain't, stalking me, or, trying to make a hit on me or whatever, then I'm
Mhm.
like, I can just leave them alone. I mean, really, why do I need to be a part of the conflict? And then I'm gonna bring my divinities in on it,
Right.
and then they're gonna go someplace and bring their divinities in on it. I've been working with some people out of freaking Jersey City, man. They almost got me tied up into that crap. And I was like, let me get out before they get in. Because see, these Orisha people around that circle of groups, there were some dangerous people. They were the ones who were trafficking the cocaine inside of the Legbas. And
Mhm.
I'm like, nah, bro, well, if you do this for us, you do that for us, there's 25 grand. And, if you just bless this and do this, I'm like, nah, let me get out of this botanic car, because what they doing in the back, and I'm not saying it for all botanicals, but this one particularly, whose name I will not mention, it was like, I was doing what I was doing because I was doing it. But now y'all want to take me into, you know, what y'all really about. And I'm like, I'm not going. So I could say, well, I'll take the money, I'll go to my Orisha, to help you traffic, this, that, and the other thing. Man, they would be done found me with my head off some daggone place messing around with these fools,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and their enemies now become, or I become an enemy of their enemies because I'm associated with them. And now we got turf and beef and all of that. And then we're gonna say you into Orisha, you into this for your spiritual elevation. Why? Why even step in that direction? It's unnecessary, you know. Build a life for yourself, build a home for yourself, bring peace into your world. That's what Ifa wants.
Mhm. That's
And
right.
stop looking at the Abrahamics, through the whole Catholicism as being your savior, but the Orisha are there, to be your lackeys. I mean, come on, that's not how it works ancestrally. I don't care what nobody say.
Yeah,
You know?
that's real. No, that's definitely real. And the comments are going ham a little bit. I'm try to bring them up in timely order. But bro, Kansu, I see you. I'm gonna bring yours up, and I'm trying to figure out what one of the, I think it's a new member or a new supporter that's got a comment or a question. But this one right here, I could say firsthand. I didn't want to interrupt you, Baba, but I know for a fact it's real. Chiquita says she has seen unseen hands politely put on someone after she heard spirit tell her to keep her hands to herself. Exactly. Literally, that I've seen that, Chiquita. I don't know how many times, to the point where I've had family members ask me, did I do something, because they knew of certain situations where people got dealt with, and I was like, nope, I ain't do a thing, because I don't have to. Because the way I see it is, by doing what I do every single day, which is minding my business, you know what I'm saying, and dealing with and handling my business, when people come with that kind of energy or that kind of BS, they get dealt with. Like, and I remember one, man, it was profound. I couldn't want to share, but now I'm gonna share. It was one where I got into a tizzy with a dude because he was talking reckless at one of my old jobs, and it was crazy because I was ready to go in, because I feel like sometimes people, I know this for a fact, and I'm sure there's people listening or watching that has dealt with similar situations or scenarios, but people sometimes will talk reckless and greasy to you because they feel comfortable, as if they're protected by the job or the environment of the workplace or wherever you're at. And there's certain levels that I feel like, with the way that I move, if you cross a certain threshold, all that goes out the window, because I'm going to show you better than I can tell you. You're not going to come at me like that, because I'm not dealing with that, period. So that kind of happened with this situation, and I was ready to go all the way. And somebody got there just in time, to keep it from going all the way. But I say all that to say this. After that happened, the dude who started the foolishness actually tried to go to the management and pretty much flip the script and try to make it seem like I was the aggressor or the instigator, which I wasn't. But I did let him know what he can get if he kept, talking that way, and I was ready to give it to him, because, like I said, it's like, certain thresholds where I don't feel like you disrespect people. But certain people are so comfortable with being able to do that and get away with it that they don't know that there are consequences and repercussions for coming at certain people. Right. So I'm one of them people where I can show you better than I can tell you, especially when it comes to respect, because I'm huge on respect, because I don't disrespect people, but at the same time, I'm not going to allow you to disrespect me. Long story short, a couple of days blow over, I come back to work, and a dude was like, yeah, you hear what happened to so-and-so? I'm like, nah. He's like, next time you see him, do like this. I like, what does that mean? He like, you ain't here? I was like, nah. He's like, man, that MFer chopped half his hand off the other day at his house. He was working with a da-da-da-da-da, and literally almost chopped his hand off. He lost almost all his fingers. And I was so blowed, bye-bye. I was like, what? Yeah. And he thought it was funny. I was like, I ain't even going to laugh, because I don't want that, like when Coach said, I don't want that sand coming back in my face. However, it happened so fast. Like within days, bye-bye, like that. I mean, it's been several stories I could share like that, but that one was like, what? And so I told my old lady about it. She's like, you ain't going, yeah. I mean, man, listen, I don't play like that. I said, no, I ain't do nothing. But that just, to me, shows that, when we're moving and we're doing our best to be our best, and we ain't out there bothering nobody, you know what I'm saying, messing with people. And kind of like what Chiquita said, when people come with that BS, they don't know who you with. It reminded me of what you said, bye-bye. You said, man, the way I talk like this, and I have this level of, assertiveness, and this level of energy, and this level of conviction when I talk, because it ain't just me. That ain't just me. That when I'm talking for my ancestors. Like, you went in, and Baba Smalls did the same thing the other day too. He was saying the same thing, and it's like, you was like, I'm just the drum, and I was like, well, if you ain't say something there, like, yes sir. But that's how I know for a fact what Chiquita said is real, because I don't go to them for that, because I feel like, first of all, I'm going to handle what I have to handle on my own, because, like you said, we can't go to the deities if we even tried to deal with it on our, by ourselves. You know what I mean? So it's like that's something that I have seen several times over without doing any of that, going to them on that type of stuff. Because if you are in alignment with, I feel like, Iwakwele, and none of us are perfect. I know I'm not, and never will be, but I can still strive to be, or strive to give my best effort to be, you know what I mean? And and I'm happy, I'm content with that, because Like my daddy said, if you got a belly button, you ain't perfect, and you're never gonna be. So I know that, but at the same time, I know I don't go out my way to mess with people, or you know what I'm saying, screw people over, or do harm to people intentionally for no reason. And I feel like that's when we are in alignment with our ancestors and our Egbe and the Orisha, you know, in alignment with doing the right thing and trying, you know, just trying to, you know, do the right thing in regards to life. They're gonna have stuff like that for us, and I've seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah, but don't get it twisted. Now we might do it, but I can't speak for my spirit.
There you go. Listen, and that's so real. That be
I
said.
ain't got no control over that bad boy. Okay.
I ain't got. I couldn't control them if I wanted to. Let's just so you know.
I just kind of sit back and wait. Now, when the time come and I get spirited up because I have to, you know, set certain, you know, groundwork, you know, and then certain parameters, and draw lines in the sand. It's like, just know that it's not just me that's doing this, you know. So please, you know, let's try to find another way to work this out. And it's the same way, you know, with dealing with the whole racism and, you know, and situations, like you said, jobs. And it's like, look, I'll go as far as you go, but I can't I can't guarantee what my spirit is going to do. Matter of fact, I'm just going to hush my mouth. Don't put your hand on me.
That part.
Okay. Don't put your hand on me. And I ain't moving. You know, so, you know, that kind of thing, you know, where we have to stand our ground, but we don't have to be wicked and evil and feel as though, you know, we got to go behind closed doors and, you know, get some gooba dust and 4 rat's eyes and the tail of a, you know, a dove or whatever. And then now we're going to make this potion and everybody who we don't like is just going to disappear. You know, it's like, be for real, you know. If civilizations and people in civilizations were able to do that, then Kemet would have never been conquered. Okay. The Greeks and the Romans would never have been conquered because they had their divinities and stuff. Everybody was basically doing the same thing. You know, the Aztecs and the Incas, they wouldn't have been conquered. The Edo and the Benin people, they wouldn't have been, you know, pushed by the Portuguese and the British. You know, the Romans wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? So when, oh man, this thing came up, and I don't usually get pissed off. I mean, like, really pissed off. Okay. But I was getting ready to go Tai Chi on a couple of individuals behind some statements that they was making. I was like, yo, well, they said, well, if the African religions were so strong, then why did the African nations get conquered and colonized? I'm like, how you even twist your mouth to say that?
Right.
That means you know nothing of world history. You have no inkling about, you know, the power of the human condition. You have no grasp of the universal construct of things. You know, you have, again, no knowledge. When the Muslims took over some of the Christian, they tore down churches and built mosques with the bricks. You see, you don't. So if Christianity was so strong, how did the Muslims beat them in the Crusades? You understand what I'm saying? So it's not the strength that, you know, stays the heavy hand of history that I call it, because that's just apparently a result of human beings still trying to work their ish out. You know, in terms of black holes and self-destructive tendencies. You know, and all of that goes with it on a universal construct. So we're not weak because of invaders. The mere fact that we're still here is a testament to that. The fact that we still have Ifa Isheshe is a testament to the fact that we may have been conquered, but we were never defeated. We were never defeated. We are still here. We're making it happen. To conquer somebody, that's one thing. But, you know, you didn't annihilate us, nor our culture, nor our belief system. So when somebody come out their face with, well, if it was so strong, then how come it couldn't withstand, you know? Well, it did withstand it. We're free. We're here right now.
We here now.
We're here now.
And we ain't alone.
We went through it, but so has every other people on this planet. You name a nation, and I'll list you at least 5 atrocities that have happened. I don't care what nation it is.
If I'm not mistaken, Baba, you addressed that, and I don't know if it was one of 3 books, either Global Perspectives, Imoye, or was it Elder Reflection? You addressed that in one of them. I can't remember which one.
Global Perspectives. I went in on that because it's like we got to wake up, people, you know, and stop seeing ourselves as the defeated. We're not defeated.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nations conquer all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think this nation can be conquered? Okay, and people didn't try. That means you don't know much about World War II, you know, because if it had just been a little bit different, then we would all been speaking German at this point.
Small just was just talking about that too. Hitler made a mistake. Literally, I'm telling you, man, y'all all be saying, like, y'all be on it.
Because we lived through it, man. We lived through it. We know. He and I are about the same age, and we were in the same circles at you know at one point.
Oh yeah, he knows your work. You know, and love and respect it too.
I look up and there he is. We on the same lecture thing. You know what I mean? So it was all good, you know. But you know, I'm just saying all that to say that we can become stronger once we wrestle with and pin down that which makes us weak, disjointed, not united, having no goals, having no strategies, having no trust and real. I got a saying now that I put on Facebook all the time when I see, you know, how we have uplifted one another, and I'm like, only we can heal us. That's my statement.
That's facts.
You know, only we can heal us. You know, and we're in the process of it because we've been free long enough to see that the freedom we thought we were striving for wasn't the real freedom that we needed. We're not the real freedom that the divinities have laid out for us. It's just a step. It was just a step. You can be politically free, but that doesn't mean that you're spiritually free or you're fulfilled or your spirit is strong. You know. So yeah, that's that. So what else do people say, man?
I'm not sure. We got one person. I don't know which way they going. I don't know if they.
All right, but don't even.
So I'm not gonna bring that one because I don't know which way if they like legitimately you know.
Don't worry about it, man. Just move on, man. Shoot.
Either way, hopefully they're not on the BS because this ain't the right place. But Brother Kansu had brought a question up that says, I've been looking into Palo and the Congo. He said it seems like people use more of that for the enemies. Baba, with your wisdoms, pretty much he wants to know what's
no, he didn't. No,
he wants to know what's the difference between. And bro, Kansu, he be honest, so I know he knows your pedigree. Yeah. That's why he asked that question.
Yeah, all right,
until I can actually get it to you before I put it up, because he asked a while ago. But I was like, we're gonna have to hold off on that one, man, because
I'm going to address it lightly, okay?
Gotcha.
Because it's heavy. Now, Brother Kansu, I'm working on, and I'm 2/3 finished, Elder Reflections Book 3. And in it, I share what I felt comfortable sharing about my Palo Mayombe experience. Okay. Now, I call Palo Bakongo. Okay. I don't even address it as Palo Mayombe because that's syncretism, you know, just like I don't deal with Catholicism when I'm dealing with the Orisha. Now, fortunately, the Tatas and the Yeyes that I've dealt with, you know, they were basically good people. I had never seen them, and I was with them for like 3-4 years. I had never seen them go against anybody. They weren't training me to go in against anybody. When I got my Ganga, you know what I mean, and the initiation process that I went through, it was all about cleansing me. It was all about understanding who my Simbi were, you know, and then Simbi being just in Bakongo, what Orisha is in Isheshe. So it was all good, but that was that Ganga. That was the Nganga house that I was in. But see, sometimes like energy draws like people. Because there were other places that I visited or that they would take me through, and I'm talking about in New York City now, where folks were going off, you know, they was into some wild stuff, and I'm like, you know, this is not what I want, and it's not what I'm going to accept. You know, I'm VTT Congo, okay, and we don't do that. Now, to your point, and not to make anyone, you know, fearful. Okay, the experience that I had to deal with when the authorities came to my door because they had just arrested like 3 or 4 Palo folks who were going to graveyards right here in Newark, going to graveyards and digging up bones. And they would utilize those bones. And of course, I knew why they were doing it, you know, and send the spirit of those bones out to do harmful things to people, you know. And so I could dig up the article right now from back in 1998 or whenever it was, when I had the freaking DA sitting across from me in my Ile, the district attorney, trying to figure out how they're going to prosecute, because the Palo folks were claiming religion, even though they had trespassed on a cemetery and have been digging up the remains of people in order to do things against their enemies, you know, be they real enemies or imagined. And I share with people unapologetically that I'm scratched. I've been through that. I don't need to mention any names or what I've been through, but I'm telling you right now, I got credentials. Okay. And not everybody does that. And B, as far as Bakongo, we may have kept the bones of our ancestors, like we would bury our ancestors in our homes, but so have Paris. You got a whole undercity where they got the bones of dead people. You have monasteries where they have the bones of people. But that doesn't mean that everybody who knows those bones are there are going in trying to use the bones for wickedness, you know.
Yeah.
So it's not about
knows what's buried in the Vatican, by the way.
that part. Even they say they have the head of the skull of John the Baptist. Can you say it again for the people up in the sky?
Yeah, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
and I laid that on them too. But thank you for, you know, for bringing that in. You know, so it's not about the bones. You know, it's about the ill intent of the so-called, you know, priestly order. They're not doing it for the reasons that our Congolese, our Bantu ancestors were doing it. And yeah, you may have had some folks even then who were, you know, into the wicked stuff, but you had Babalawos who were into the, you know, hurting people. As you points that out in Owari Meiji. So the whole thing is, I'm not condoning it. You know, you came to me to ask me my opinion of it, you know, of this situation. And I have nothing to do with how you try the case or how they're judged. I'm just telling you that what they're doing is not reflective of the African traditional religion.
Mm.
They're the definition of the renegades, you know, that the outlaws, you know, the people who think they can, you know, utilize the dead in order to go against their enemies. I'm like, who are you again? You just some folks living there on freaking 4th Avenue, some daggone where, you know what I mean, in the hood. But you feel as though you got to rob graves to deal with your enemies. At this point, I would think you are your worst enemy. Get a freaking job and get up out of the hood. Try that. You know, dig yourself out of the grave.
That part.
Oh man, and they were throwing black plates down on me, and they were cursing my name, and you know, and the Hooga Doogas is going to come do this to you and do that to you. I'm like, well, you know, well, at this point, I can say I'm 72 years old, and that happened when I was like in my 40s. So whatever you was throwing on me, you know, matter of fact, I think they like me. You know what I mean? They're like, he's cool. Nah. So we're gonna go back and make your life a living hell.
I know another Tata who had a similar experience of some of that's like what you're talking about now. And as far as I know, he in damn good shape and health, you know, to me. So like he might have had the same type of redistribution of energy, I would say.
Yeah, because they ramp it like that. You know, the whole Palo people. Then the Palo people got beef with the Orisha people, and you can't do this and you can't do that. And I'm like, you know what? Shut up. You know what I mean? Just shut up. Don't nobody want to hear all that. You know? And you might have a whole lot of other people scared of you, but I ain't scared of you. I ain't scared of you. You know? We're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, and you shouldn't have did this, and why are you standing up for the, you know, for the law and all that kind of stuff? I said, because you robbed, you went into a cemetery that's predominantly black, and you took a grave, you took somebody's grandfather's bones, you took somebody's wife's bones. That's the problem that I have. I don't give a shit about none else you're talking about, but you went into what I consider sacred ground. You went into sacred ground, and that's where you effed up. I ain't got nothing to do with nothing about you in Palo or none of that. You violated my ancestral connection, because the next thing I know, you're going to be trying to get my bones, and you're going to be trying to get the bones of my deceased wife, or you're going to try to, you understand? So I need to stop you. I need to stop you. They threw their asses in prison, man. You know? So whatever y'all got working for you, I hope it's working for you while you were locked up.
I know that's right.
You know? I ain't got time for these people and that, all that. You know what I mean?
The boogeyman, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers.
Yeah, burn in hell, and you know, God gonna strike you dead and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, really? Is that all you got? You know, try singing songs of joy. Heal yourself.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I got. There's a lot.
Yes, they do. Right.
Yeah. There's a lot of comments in here, but I
know they don't want problems with
I don't either. Look, I don't want that smoke. No, sir. Look, I don't want no problems with nobody. Listen, I'd rather make friends.
I don't want problems with myself.
Right. Yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
Let me light my candle and turn out the lights. You know what I mean? And light my sage and get on my drums so I don't, you know, start feeling bitterness and, you know, angry ghosts from the past always coming to visit. You know, I'm like, who let y'all in? You know?
Right. Yes,
you know, let me get me right. and so I can be right for my people, so I can be right in the world, you know.
That's real.
But that brings me to the blessing of Tawede,
Mm.
because every day I get, about the time I get up and get myself, stretched out a bit, get my candles lit, get my libation on, and then I sit down and write from the spirit of that day. Like, I don't write, like, say tomorrow's day 12. I'm not going to write anything about day 12 tonight. I don't do it until I get up. Back to the dedicated practice.
Tuned into the frequency. I said, tuned into the frequency.
Well, yeah, which comes from.
My bad. That reminds me of that time. Remember that time when we were doing the pre-recorded shows a lot more often before we crossed over to doing the live streams more often. But there's been several times where we had issues with the technology, and I've had that issue happen recently. But anyways, and I remember we were supposed to do the show on Oya, but it didn't work out. So we did it the next day, and then the next day when we did it, that was the one that it's been a little while now since it's been up. But I remember, I'll never recall, like after the end of that, when we finished the recording, I was like, Baba, it wasn't meant for us to record this yesterday. I was like, because I don't feel like the same energy would have been invoked the way it was that day. And that day, I remember I felt like I was possessed that day during the call, because I just remember all these different messages coming through from
right.
We were talking about Oya, we were talking about the Igungun, we were talking about spirit, and I believe I want to say it might have been on Halloween when we actually recorded it. So it was a lot of different elements that were at play. That I feel like it was, unfortunately, the technology kind of betrayed us, but I felt like it was meant to be, because I don't know, had we were recorded on the day we were supposed to, if the quality of content and the power of the message would have transmitted the way that it did that day. So I definitely get where you're going with that. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just
no, it's right on point, brother. Because then sometimes like, instead of, oh well, it didn't happen, we planned it to happen, you know what I mean, and I'm like, well, I've got these messages rolling around in my head. It's like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, no, I'm not writing down anything until the sun come up and the spirit of the day comes in, and then I said, well, okay, let me review the Odu, let me bring in my experience, and let me pick out 1 or 2 points, and then I'm just gonna go. I'm just a drum. Okay, and now we're rolling up to day 12. Otura Pum, and then it's just Otura, Irete, Oshe, and Ofun. Next thing you know, we're gonna look up in our 16-day Iwakiri, our spiritual journey will be over, but just beginning. Yeah. Because now we have to carry those epiphanies, those revelations throughout the year until the next Tawede. So I'm going to use all of those epiphanies, all of those revelations, all of the Orumila talking to me, as a part of the classes, a part of the course, a part of the dialogue that we're going to have. And I wrote that in Econ today. Said, once the 16 days are over, that doesn't mean that it's over. These are the building blocks. And then I had to smile, and it's like, the people be preachers for 50 years reading from the Bible, the one book, for 50 years. And then the preacher that come in, take the same book and read from it.
Same messages, same.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what we're doing is establishing our library, our vastness, so that it's not just one book, but every book is a piece of a puzzle. That once people start, okay, well, I read the journal, and I already read Elder Reflection, so I already started writing. So now I'm going to put this piece to that piece, and then start piecing together all of the work that, in this instance, you and I are doing, and then everybody's puzzle is going to look different, but it's going to be components of the same pieces, and that just, I'm telling you, that just does something great to me, to be able to see, but basically how Chachita puts it all together, and then Oshuniyi puts it all together, and then Brother Consul takes it all together, and then Nkosi takes it all together, and they're all components of what we have, but everybody's puzzle is going to be uniquely theirs.
Yes, sir.
You know, as opposed to trying to make everybody, you know, look the same and everybody do the same and everybody be the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why were we born so uniquely if we're just going to be herded like sheep and cattle?
Yeah. Conforming to the masses as sheeple instead of people.
Oh, yeah, right. The sheep.
You know? No, that's a real thing, Baba.
Yeah.
It reminds me of you know, the journey, our journeys, how all of our journeys are independent and unique. Just like fingerprints. So for example, you remember the other day we was talking, I can't remember what we were talking about something, but I recall, I think I do remember now. We was talking about some of the content and how I switched up one of the pieces of content and sent it to you. But anyway, it reminds me of what I shared with you when we were talking about that is how art, you know, the world of art, and you know, I can look at a piece from Leonardo, you know, the Da Vinci, and say it look like doo doo water, you know, but then you know I could possibly look at a piece from Basquiat and say it's a masterpiece, you know what I mean, and vice versa. So it's like that's how, you know, like they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I mean, our journey is in the spirit of the holder, of the ashe. You know what I mean? So as long as we're doing it with integrity and working to strive to accomplish and develop Iwa Pele, then the journey is the journey. As long as you stand in bounds and in the confines of morality and integrity, then you know what I mean, you do what works for you. Because what works for me might not work for the next person. What works for Baba might not work for me. You know what I mean? And vice versa. So, but at the end of the day, we all can still benefit from looking at another artist's work, because for me, I look at other YouTube channels all the time because I want to see where can I get better at? What can I do, you know, differently? What can I, you know, there's just so many different things that I use. And I always look at people who winning because that's motivation for me. I always make sure I hit the like button because that's support to me. I make sure I hit the subscribe button because before I was a YouTube, you know, creator, I didn't know how much that meant. But now that I know, I go out of my way to do it for the other content creators and other channels that I follow, because that's support. You know what I mean? And I know that we spoke about this earlier. There's still more people who watch this channel that aren't subscribed than there are that are. But I found out after hiring another a YouTube coach now, it's like that's just part of the process. It is what it is. So I don't know if you'll ever, no matter how big your channel or platform is, get past that point unless you're like a super, you know, creator. But for the most part, that's just kind of how people are. But I look at it like this: if our channel, if it resonates with you, I feel like it'll be better, you know, as a subscriber, because you'll have more information and more access to the things that you like or it resonates with you. But if you don't, that's fine too. Keep watching us, you know, whether you're subscribed or not. We appreciate you, because that's just how we move. But you know, at the end of the day, man, it's a really interesting dynamic, you know, when you talk about Tawede and like the significance of it, because I mean, for one, just the fact that you have that, I feel like I don't know how I'm going to, but I'm gonna do my best to like put it out there, you know, in all ways that I can, because I feel like it needs to be highlighted on another level. And I'll give you another example. Perfect example is the first time I ever heard Hundreds music. The very first time I heard his music, I did not stop listening to it. I listened to that brother's music for months straight before I listened to something else. And I mean, literally, the first conversation I had with him was like, "Yo, bro, you mind if I use your, you know, your music on my content?" I was like, "Cause I don't know what I could do, but I want to do everything I can do to support you and to put your brand and your music out there to as many people as I can. You know, even with a little small channel like this, I'm still, you know, able to help him in that way because I want to, because I appreciate his music, but not only his music, but I appreciate the Isheshe, you know, fundamentals of his music. The fact that he makes beautiful music, but it's solely for Ifa Isheshe, is profound to me. So the very first time I spoke to him, I asked him, could I use his music on my content on the channel and social media? He was like, yeah. So I've been doing it ever since. And I can't tell you how many times somebody has stopped by the channel who's probably not a regular and asked, yo, who sings the intro? Who is that on your, you know, on the intro or outro of your song? But I feel like if we can appreciate each other, you know, as a whole that way, then the world has no other opportunity but to go forward and to go higher in regards to the human experience.
Right.
You know, so this ain't even a Isheshe or a Ifa, or this is strictly for humanity. If
Yeah.
we can appreciate, love, and respect other people, and everybody is a work of art. Everybody is a product of the creator, the most phenomenal artist in the universe, trillion time fold. There is some form of aspect of the creator in every other person. So if we can appreciate that art, that work of art, and then, you know what I'm saying, respect it at least, then I feel like as a whole within humanity, we're going in the right direction, you know, in regards to elevation and expansion.
That's right. Well, I'm one of the people, you know, who can speak.
Yeah. I remember the first time I played Ori for you. The very first time. Respectfully, Bob, I'm going to say this real quick, because I know you want to share your mind. The very first time I played Ori for you, Baba, you didn't have to say a word. I saw everything on your face, the way you closed your eyes, and I swear to God, it was like, I say this with the utmost respect, but I have to say it this way so people can get the picture I saw. But it was the equivalent of someone having the silent Holy Ghost. You know what I'm saying? Like, when, you know, in church when they, you know what I'm saying? Like, or dare I say in an Elay with someone getting mounted. But it was a very pleasant, peaceful manner. But damn it, I know what I saw, and you was in a positive tizzy. You was like, and then I remember how you spoke after. I'll never forget the look on your face when I played that song for you. And so, and that's how I felt with working with some of my clients with doing divination. Like, because to be able to deliver a message to someone where you know it resonates with them to the point where I've had people get emotional. But I love that because I know I did my job, and I did my job the right way for the right reason. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when we are able to do that, it's a game changer, man. And I feel like that's what we're doing here, you know, without sharing with each other, man. I love it.
So I'm going to drop this because, you know, going into 2025, we're going to have that audiobook out where 100, you know, is the music, you know, under it. And that's an innovative project within itself.
Yes, sir.
So good people, you know, we have taken the novel, A Place of Nights, War and Resurrection, and, you know, with Baba Orisha Bami's guidance, basically, you know, I've taken his advice and got the audiobook for the first season, okay, which is the prologue and the first 3 chapters of the book, and so as an audiobook, you know, people will be able to download it, you know, just like they download the PDFs, you know, from the funnels. Okay. And with the music to it, it's like you're watching the movie inside your mind, because the music is literally the score for the work, and the work is being read. And so you're gathering it, and those who are a little bit more visual will start to see the pictures as a teaching tool. It will be, you know, sketch something out. You know, we're going to play the first 3 minutes of this particular chapter, and let's sketch something out. Let's start working on visualization. You see, and this is an exercise. I've already started that with students in the high school, and it's working wonders, because first of all, we're talking about Nigerian music in a high school. You know, we're talking about characters and settings that are of African context. We're talking about a coming of age of a princess and her protector, a war chief, who are clearly Oyo characters. And so bringing this in now, say perhaps if I was in Florida, or I'm trying to throw shade on Florida or South Carolina, Alabama, what I'm doing might just well be banned. And in respect to Baba Orisha Bemi, what you're talking about, in terms of learning, I've been watching a lot of the Ta-Nehisi Coates interviews, and I even sent you one so that I'm better prepared for the interview. Good people, that's in progress, or process, I should say, in process, with a radio station in Abeokuta, in Nigeria. So, I mean, we're close to the finish line. Like it should happen on Saturday, this coming Saturday. And so, all of this is a part of what we're doing here, the Ashe tribe and the Karade Nation. What we're bringing forth in terms of this is what going into 2025 means to us. Okay, the solidification, if you will, of basic conceptuals, to say that we're just not talking about it. We are writing about it. We're producing about it. We're disseminating about it. We're making it accessible for classes, discussions, presentations. So where that chunk, like I talked about not having elders. Well, how many Babalaos and Ianifas and Babas and Ias are putting work out for the Onisheshe diaspora at large? Okay, whereas in too many that I've been hearing and I've heard that's still going on, people don't even want you to read. They don't want you to stay. They don't want you to come in with knowledge. No knowledge is being discussed. It's just like, you need this, do that, go here, make this happen, make that happen. No psychological ramifications. No. Ask anybody in the Sheshe community, what does spirit mean? Where's your spirit with all of this? And like, what? I just feed my Orisha. I mean, really? You see? Where are your philosophers? Where are your philosophers? And I'm like, I'm right here. Somebody call my name. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I can be a philosopher within the context of IFA. And I've studied individuals who are philosophers. Okay. To whatever degree. These elders who have now taken IFA to a philosophical, we're going to study life. We're going to study living. Okay. And we may have our Orisha, and there's people who need to take care of that. That's cool. Like we were saying, everybody on the ship is not, fulfilling the same
role.
Yeah, the same role.
But we need everybody in order for
we need everybody.
Period.
And who are we looking back towards when we talk about our ancestors? Are we just looking at, cotton fields down south, or are we looking at the Benin Empire? Are we looking at the Edo? Are we looking at the Oyo? Are we looking at the Great Wall of Zimbabwe? Where are we looking when we talk about our ancestors?
Mm-hmm.
And how are we looking at them? We need philosophers. That doesn't mean we're denying Orisha. It means that we're seeing Orisha as life givers, not just life doers. But yes, again, different pieces need to fit together, and then people at different ages, go through different things. But when you don't have any elders around to kind of assist you in that process, like you were talking about, having the sister elder who was assisting you with tips.
Yeah. Yep.
How much more you gain from your relationship with her?
Invaluable. You can't put a price on what that. Yeah, you can't put a price on it.
But
and it was for free because it's family. But at the same time, let's just let me in regards to that, Baba. At the same time, I was blessed to have her be my mentor with my first or author mentor, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was like 2014 or 15, I think, when I was writing that book. But anyways, since that time, after the book came out and all that, after the COVID thing, when my public speaking business got halted, that's when I had to go back to school and learn more about business. And so since that time, I think it's fair to say that I probably invested in the anywhere from 40 to $50,000 worth of business coaching that I've invested in regards to joining coaching programs and different business communities. And the beauty in that is, ever since I've done all of them, I've learned a ton and I've gained a ton of experience and a ton of knowledge, in regards to all things business. Well, not all things, but different industries and business.
Yeah.
But the most important one that I learned was the marketing, and I never knew how important marketing was in business until COVID shut down my business, because I was blessed to have every week a speaking engagement, sometimes multiple per week. I was blessed to use that same content from those prior events to just clip them and put them out on the socials in order to gain more traction to get booked to do other ones. So when it got shut down, it's like literally the rug got snatched from underneath. I'm like, okay, how the hell do I get in front of people to do anything? You know what I'm saying? Like, anything. And that's where I realized the gaping hole that I had in my tool belt in regards to like what I would consider to be the heartbeat of business is the marketing aspect. How do you get in front of the people that you created your products or services for? Not only how do you get in front of them, but then how do you convince them that you are the person or your product or your service is the solution to their problem?
Right.
Once you get that, then you are on your way, and you're on your way to something phenomenal. But if you don't get that, it's going to be a struggle every day. And I can guarantee that because I've lived that struggle, unfortunately, until I was able to learn and get taught and mentored, like we were talking about by other, marketing professionals and content creators, that's on the next level. And so now, in regards to that, that's where we have the what we have now with Ashe. That is a beneficiary of the wisdom and the knowledge that has been coached. I have been coached up with by other, business professionals. But that's how we are. And I also say that because that's what our motto and our vision is for what we do here at Ashe, based off of you being the professional, you being the elder, you being that connoisseur, for the tradition. And dare I say, one of the most prolific ones in all of America that I know of personally. No disrespect to nobody else, but I don't know nobody else's work the way I know yours. And so I'm gonna quote you from my own little corner of the universe. You are the GOAT in regards to the tradition here in the States, and that's why not only am I proud to work with you, but I'm honored because that I know for a fact signifies, in a selfish manner, my own personal legacy, but ultimately it signifies, I'll say, our community and cultural legacy, because you are able to give us as a tribe a validation that I don't know of how many other people have an elder who steers the ship for their community or for their tribe. And that therein by itself, to me, is priceless. It's just like my cousin would teach me how to, like, you being here with us to do what you're doing with us is priceless, because it's invaluable for us, like for anybody to put a price on how much we've gained by having your wisdom being, disseminated on a regular basis, on a daily, pretty much a daily basis. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, well, I'm committed, brother, and maybe it wasn't unfortunate for things to happen,
Yeah.
that put you on, this course in this way.
Yes.
And again, it's all a matter of perspective, and I definitely don't see anything selfish about you. It's a self-motivational, it's a self-realization, it's a self-awareness that if I line things up like this, success is guaranteed.
Yes,
And
sir.
if I invest in self, like I want people to invest in my product, then that's going to be evident. And that's part of what people, go for, because I can sit up here and talk about my books and talk about my books and talk about my books, but people don't get to know me. They don't get to know what I really stand for, and my level of conviction and the level of love and concern that I have for us, you know. So it's like it is a package deal.
Yeah.
And for us to be all together, it's like we're in this together, you know.
Yes, sir. I
So
got one more question, Baba. That 'cause I know we went way longer than I thought we would. But
as
so
usual.
we still got a nice full house here. So
Okay.
Chiquita, had a comment. If I,
Yes, Chiquita,
yeah, but not that one. There's another one she had earlier. I put to the
I feel so responsible to do this now from living my spiritual life in the hallway because
okay.
all of these. Yeah.
That's
All right.
not about this. I'm sorry. This is the one I had to put it like in a different section in order not to forget where it was at. But her question was, what do you think about 23andMe? And she said, I know it's off topic, but they have always used identification, etc., in their formulas. I'm assuming for like oppression and colonization. So pretty much, I think what her question is like, what do you think about that doing the DNA testing? Do you think that's something we should or should not do? Is what I gather she's asking that question.
Oh, the DNA, yeah, because there's been, talk of the DNA being sold to XYZ peoples and all of that. What I think about it is if you feel as though you want to go that route and you want to know and you're going to do something with that knowledge, then go on and do it. Because see, they can get your DNA whenever they want from wherever they want.
Yeah.
And you'll get nothing from it. Somebody can walk past you and scrape your skin or, follow you to the ladies' room, you know what I mean, and take a piece of your hair. If they want it bad enough,
they can get it.
Chiquita, they're gonna get it.
Yeah.
And you'll get nothing from it. But if you send your swab, because I did it, I found out, my Bantu and Congolese and Cameroonian, I don't even like to use some of the terms, but the power of it kind of, to me, outweighs the possibility of them cloning 100 of me to go conquer the world or whatever. You know what I mean? And like I've known people who wouldn't, back in the day, who wouldn't go to Africa. They were surprised that in 77 I was in Kenya. Like, bro, you going over there? And I'm like, what? I'm not concerned about you right now. You know what I mean? Why are you even approaching me?
Oh, well, this year when I went over there to make E5.
Oh, see. But the problem,
and some of the levels I'm not gonna speak on because I don't want that smoke. I
love it. But it's 2024, right? But in direct response to Cachita or Chachita, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it. But when you go to Africa, wherever you go, you got to take shots.
Yeah. Malaria pills. You got to take those shots.
Yeah. And that has to be stamped on your passport.
Yeah.
Or the furthest you gonna get is to Trinidad, someplace. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna cross the whole Atlantic and land without those shots. So my point is, for all of the riffraff that I had to go through, basically in terms of the down brothers, why you join the military, why you going to Africa, they're going to take your blood and they're going to do this and do that. And then I would have been like, oh yeah, you're right. I'm just going to sit here and wither and die in the ghetto, and have no global experience except going to Europe, where you don't have to take shots. Now, isn't that interesting? Okay. So no, I'm going to take the shots and I'm going to go. None of your business. I'm out. Okay. Why are you trying to, okay, fine. You don't want to do it. Fine. That's on you. But I want to do it. If I want to know about my ancestry, and I decide that I want to go through, 23andMe or Ancestry.com or wherever, I found some cousins of mine on Ancestry who connected with me. I didn't even know that they existed.
Wow.
And we still talk to this day, till today. I spoke with one of them. I haven't seen her in the flesh not one time. You understand? So whatever they're going to take from me to, clone me and conquer 10 planets or whatever, go ahead, because the same way I can be blown apart like this, my clones can be blown apart. I ain't got nothing to do with it. But right now, I want to know something more about me. Especially, at the time I was in like my mid 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Why shouldn't I want to know? Why shouldn't I want to know?
Some people find parents and or children by doing them things.
Exactly. I sent pictures of it to all my 500 kids out there in the world. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the whole thing is that I'm not overly concerned about, the hype, because there's always going to be folks hyped up about something, except, oh, well, we got a problem with you going in the military, having no clue of the military, and homage to 6888 with Tyler Perry. I'm just going to give that, because that was.
I heard that was a movie, so that was good.
That was on.
If you saying it, then I'm gonna watch it, because I've seen some people say that was the best movie he ever did, bar none.
Oh, definitely.
But like I said, I had to hear it from a credible source. So now that I know it's just worth the watch.
I had to, give him a little pat on the shoulder and say, you did good, son, for all that you was putting out before this. We're going to put that under the bridge, because what you did here today,
I'm gonna check that
and
out.
what you did for those, because some of them sisters are still living.
Yeah. My mom was telling me about that, actually. Matter of fact, she actually told me it was good too. I forgot mom's told me that, but I think she was telling me about the families that were still alive. Because if I'm not mistaken, there's a couple of music artists who had relatives that were involved with it too. If I'm not mistaken, that's what my mom was telling me.
Went on Facebook. So the point is, for him to have done all of that, whatever the woman role he was playing and doing all that, it was like, the man is pure genius. He got his money. He built his studio. He looking out for Black folks, and now he coming out with some real history. And the way he went down on Christianity, I know his congregation was like, "Oh no, you didn't. You
get out of here! I'm gonna definitely have to check it out."
Heathen, how you gonna call us out like that?
Whoa, boy! You done got the church in the tizzy. Hey,
whatever punches he was trying to pull, he failed miserably. He hit solid Mike Tyson like. He was dropping individuals in this.
Wow, that's
definitely worth seeing. And in my lifetime, I was overjoyed. I didn't think I would really like it either. Some more Tyler Perry goofy stuff.
Wow, that's saying something.
So I would give it 4.5 out of 5. I would give it 90 out of 100. But just saying that people were having all kinds of difficulties with, Black folks joining the military, not realizing that we've always been in the military. And as stated in the movie, if we don't fight and somebody else overtakes this country, then what do you think is going to happen to us?
Right. That part.
But the funny thing about it that I found tragically funny is that nobody was feeling bad about people going to prison. It was like, so you telling me that going to prison is the symbol of, the Black rite of passage. This, it's okay to go to prison, but it's not okay to go to the military. It's okay to go to Paris, or seek to go to London, or, be on the jet set, but it's not okay to go to Africa.
Listen.
It's okay to wonder about you not knowing where you came from. Okay. But it's not okay to get a DNA test.
Yeah.
Who's commanding this ship here called me? I mean, really. I'm not giving anybody that kind of control, man. And I ain't even being apologetic about it. It's like, oh no. If I want to do it, then I'm going to do it because I have my reasons, you know. So I got military. I got all the benefits. I got, because of what I went through, I came back teaching in the hood, did that for damn near 40 years. Oh, I had some, well, why you want to be a teacher in the system? You know, that's the white man's education, blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, I should be down here, you know, doing what? Selling newspapers on the corner. You know what I mean? That's good with you, but the majority of our black babies are in public schools.
Facts.
The vast majority of them. So you're going to abandon them, and they have no, especially black role models.
Facts.
Get out of here with that, man. Go sell your bean pies and your papers. Peace. You know, really, peace. You do you. But don't come trying to step between me doing me, because you don't have a problem. You're going to have a problem. You know, you don't know me like that. You know. So, Chachita, all that to say that if you want to do what you want to do, then go on and do it. You know, if you feel like you want to go 23andMe to learn something about your ancestry, then go on and do it. Because like I said, them people, if they want your DNA bad enough, they're going to get it. Trust me, they're going to get it. And if you're concerned about having more of you in the world, there is more of one of you in the world. You know, when you walk around and you see somebody look just like you, or somebody could be your brother, your cousin, or your twin, you're like, daggone, you know, you look just like me. And like you look just like me.
That is fact.
And I think we've all kind of experienced that.
Oh man, I experienced it more in Africa than I did anywhere else. Anywhere here in the States. When I was over there, man, it was unbelievable. One of the brothers I took a picture of the brother, man, because he looked so much like one of my homeboys. Like, I mean, literally, he looked so much like him, Baba. I had to take a picture because we call it chewing. I don't know what they call it nowadays. I think they call it snapping, or, you know, when you're talking about somebody, I don't know, they call it snapping or I can't remember what the word is of today, but we used to call it chewing. So like we grew up, all of us from elementary school, chewing each other, right? So I saw this dude, I took a picture, and when I sent it to the brother who he looked just like, he couldn't do nothing but laugh. Normally he would have chewed me back. Like he would have had some comeback for me. Just chew him before I got on the podcast. I said, man, come on the live stream. I said, I'll chew you on there too. Shout out to my boy T. But anyway, but man, I sent that picture, Baba, he couldn't do nothing but laugh. Like, he looked at it, he just laughed, because like he knew the dude looked just like him on the other side of the world. It was profound how much he looked like this dude. But
Right.
that's real. That is real.
That's deep, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, so come on, people. You know, let's put on the big people clothes and, you know, kind of embrace our spirits and do what we are moved to do. And, you know, we can take other people's, you know, whatever's, you know, but at the end of the day, we have to determine. And I really don't feel as though your ancestors would be upset if you cross the Mason-Dixon line, you know what I mean, and went beyond slavery, you know, and found out, you know, where you from, where you from, you know. Oh, I'm from Newark. No, I ain't ask you where you live. I asked where you from.
I like that.
Well, my people from down south. Okay, well, I get that, but y'all was just there for maybe what, 300, 400, 500 years. But where you from? Where you from? Who are your people? And what knowledge of that, you know, and what knowledge of that is going to do something for you, you know, do something to you, you know. All right.
I think, well, we done broke another record. This is definitely the longest live stream. We went 3 hours a night, man, and the tribe's still here. We appreciate y'all, family. So before we get out, I wanted to share something real quick. I think what I'm gonna do to that way we can let everybody know in the tribe and in the communities. I think Baba, depending on your schedule, I'm thinking maybe if we can knock out the VIP call Sunday, depending on how your schedule looks, and then I think
Sunday's good.
It'll work. Okay, and then
Yeah, I'm on semester break, brother. So now's the time to hit hard. I'm good.
Yeah. So and then I'm thinking for our community, our private community, I'm gonna do I'll probably do a live Q&A with the whole tribe in the community Saturday, sometime maybe early Saturday evening. I'm thinking. So I'll put the exact times and the links to the Zooms in the community tab in the YouTube channel, as well as the other two platforms, Patreon and the AfricanSpiritualExperience.com website. So I got to merge all three communities into one, and I'll go over that during our calls on Saturday and Sunday, family, on how to try to best figure out the way to consolidate, so have everybody in one central location. However, for the YouTube members, we may have to keep you guys in two different communities in order to have the access to the badges and the different things that we have for the live streams. I'll probably have to just, somehow, some way grandfather y'all into the African Spirituality Experience website community, so y'all can have access to everything, on YouTube and in that one. And then, but either way, we'll get that taken care of, in the very near future. But with that, man, I appreciate the love, the support. I appreciate all, the new subscribers, the new people who've been showing up and showing out over the last few days, man. I definitely appreciate you all. And Baba, I appreciate you. And I got a lot of work to do, for what we're working on once we get off here. So with that, do you have anything else for the tribe you want to share on the way out, Baba, on this 12th day? No, today's 11th or 12th day. 11th. Sorry, 11th day. Right. We close 58 minutes from the 12th, but on this 11th day.
You about there.
Yeah, man. On this 11th day of Tawede.
Yeah, but just simply just keep journeying forth. That's it. This is not a fashion statement right here, right now. This is some hard work. We crossing deserts and climbing mountains and swimming oceans and crossing rivers and carrying on. And then it's going to take strength and willpower and discipline. Back to the discipline part that we started off with, and the consistency factor. We're churning out work because we're consistent. We're handling this like we breathing. So we're continually making this happen. So, please try to keep up with the daily Tawede messages, that I get up every morning. And part of my spiritual journey is to make sure that the message gets out, and let's just continue to learn and grow, and be there for one another, because we get weary, it's okay. But we look towards each other for strength, Ashe.
Ashe. Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. So family, I appreciate all y'all again. I always like to start and finish with gratitude, because that's how I usually try to start the day. Same way Baba said, you get up to do what he does with Tawede. I get up with my prayers, man, and just go around the house, around the shrines, and just give thanks, and so when we come into the live streams or even the regular recorded videos, I like to do the same thing, man. Like how you do anything is how you do everything. So I wake up giving thanks, and gratitude, man. It's something I don't have to remember to do, because I do it every day. And I feel like that's what we're here for, family. So I appreciate y'all. Reparations, I appreciate you, Ifa Segun, Shachita, Serenity Reigns. Appreciate all y'all, family. And real quick too, on the way out, I'm gonna do on the website, I'm giving away a free month of the African Spirituality Experience community. There was no way for me to change it, so it's only $5, but there was no way for me to change it the way the website is set up. So what happens is, if you sign up, it will ask for $5, but you'll get the month of January. From the day you sign up, you'll get that month free, and then it won't charge you until whenever that month is up. I was trying to get it to where it didn't charge anything, but that's not the way it's set up. But anyway, giving away a free month of the private community, as well as we still got the Tawede links up on the channel. I'll put those up again for Star Seeds, Young Kings, and the Ashe Journal in regards to free ebook downloads for the tribe. for the rest of the year. So I look forward to seeing everybody this weekend. You know, on Saturday, the private communities will have a call, and on Sunday we'll have the VIP call. And I'll put the times and the Zoom links in the communities family, because I don't want to do those on YouTube, because I want to keep, you know, what we do in our private community to our private community, and not have, you know, the outside platforms to have control over everything that we do. So with that, we'll see y'all the tribe Saturday and Sunday, and then we'll be back with the live stream sometime next week when Baba and I get our schedules ironed up and linked up, and then you know, hopefully we'll have some more guests coming in next week too, family. But we appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for riding heavy with us for 3 hours straight, and as always, you know, we definitely appreciate the love and support. Don't forget to please like, share, subscribe, get your free downloads, and we'll see y'all on the next one. We are out. Peace. Odabo.
ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé sàpò ìyàgbọ́ tẹ́ǹtì ẹni takísà ní tàtàn ò bá padà sílé anítìjàkọ ẹja lọ pé eégún mo sì ẹni gbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́ forsake not your ancestors, embrace your